Good afternoon, everyone. Time is 1:06 p.m. and I'm calling this meeting to order. Ms. Joynham, please read the notice of the public meeting.
Thank you, Chairwoman Renew. This is a regular scheduled meeting of the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission 2023 annual meeting schedule. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the Senator Byron M. Baer Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of the meeting was provided to the Asbury Park Press, Atlantic City Express, Bergen Record, Courier Post, Star Ledger, and the Trenton Times on January 11, 2023. The agenda and information regarding the meeting was also posted on the CRC website. The meeting and time location has also been posted on the site of the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission and with the Office of the Secretary of the State.
Thank you. Ms. Joynham, can you please take roll call?
Commissioner Barker?
Present.
Commissioner Del Coso?
Present.
Commissioner Nash?
Present.
Vice Chair Delgado?
Present.
Chairwoman Renew?
Present.
All members of the commission are present, and we now have a quorum. The first order of business is for the commission to go into executive session to discuss legal matters and litigation updates. These are discussions that are not shared with the public. We believe the executive session should take about 1 hour.
Okay, thank you. I believe we also have some staff investigatory matters to also discuss during executive session. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Madam Chair, I move that we go into executive session.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Barker, seconded by Commissioner Del Coso. Is there any discussion on this motion to go into executive session? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. So the commission will go into executive session. We expect the executive session to last approximately 60 minutes. Staff that remains in this room will not be able to answer questions from the audience about matters pending before the commission. If you need to use the restroom, they are right outside these doors. So we should expect to resume the open public session at about 2:10 p.m. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for your patience, everyone. Executive session has ended. Time is now 2:28 p.m. And we will resume the open public portion of this meeting. Ms. Joynham, can you please announce the next agenda item?
Next up on the agenda is approving the meeting minutes of both commissions' open session and executive session held on March 2nd. The meeting minutes has been shared and reviewed by the members of the commission prior to this meeting.
Thank you. There was one edit to the executive session minutes that was addressed during executive session. And I believe there is an edit that needs to be made to the public meeting minutes. And so Commissioner Nash, I believe you have readily accessible the change that needs to be made. Yes, please go ahead.
So I had, the statement was that the board was receiving information after the board vote, and I want to correct that statement.
For the public meeting
For the
minutes?
public meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so the staff is receiving information after the board votes, and I want to update my statement to reflect that in the minutes.
Okay, thank you. And I believe, my apologies, I believe there is also a change needed on page 4. So under the consideration of the annual licenses, it reads that there was no discussion, and then there is the discussion that is summarized there below. So we need to amend that and just remove hearing no discussion. Ms. Joanna called the vote since there was some discussion on that item. And Commissioner Del Costa, did you mention an edit that needed to be made?
It's just a typo. There was, on page 6, there was a typo with NJBAT, and it's supposed to be NJBAC on the public meetings minutes.
Can you identify that again for us?
Yeah, on page 6, there was a typo.
Okay.
It says it's supposed to read NJBAC Technical Assistance Program, but it was typed as NJBAT.
Okay, got it. Great, thank you. Any other edits or changes needed to the public meeting minutes? All right, hearing none, is there a motion to adopt the public meeting minutes as amended?
Motion.
All right, moved by Commissioner Del Coso. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Nash. Is there any discussion on this motion to adopt the meeting minutes for February 8th as amended? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of approving the February 8th meeting minutes as amended, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes and the minutes are approved.
Next on the agenda is the chair's report.
All right, so first off, I want to recognize first off, I want to recognize all the people who are here in this room and have joined us in person today. Thank you. I also want to recognize that yesterday marked the 2nd anniversary of the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission's launch. And so thank you. And so even though the agency is just a toddler, the last 2 years have seen tremendous changes in the cannabis landscape. For instance, we've worked with the public to develop rules for every class of licensure for cannabis businesses. We have tripled the number of medical dispensaries that are open to patients and approved more than 50 new adult use businesses. And of course, we saw the first ever legal recreational cannabis sales take place. Now, setting up this industry has been, and it continues to be, a process, and that's a process that should not be rushed haphazardly. I'm proud to say that our work to provide meaningful access to a regulated cannabis industry is bearing fruit. We are already seeing a diverse and inclusive recreational and medical market take shape. But as I'm sure everyone here knows, there is still a lot of room to grow. And that means a lot of business opportunities for people who are picturing themselves in the cannabis industry. So whether you are a grower, a seller, or a business that doesn't touch cannabis at all, such as a marketing firm or an interior designer that specializes in supporting cannabis businesses, there is a place here for you in New Jersey. As the CRC enters its third year, I'm excited for what comes next, including seeing even more business owners realize the American dream and get to hang their shingles. So while we at the Commission will continue to do everything that we can to keep New Jersey at the forefront of equity and accessibility in cannabis this new year, I want to say happy birthday to the NJCRC. Thank you to the Commission staff and board members for the blood, sweat, and tears that have been poured into this work. And thank you to our patients and consumers and stakeholders for making this past year one to remember. So thank all of you. Next, I want to say, I do want to note that as reflected on our website, the May meeting has been canceled to allow staff and the board time to complete the review, scoring, and preparation of applications. Thankfully, every application has already been touched on and started the review process, so we just need to wrap up those reviews. This extra time will also allow us to compile responses to the public's input on our proposed rules. So thank you in advance to everyone who did comment on our proposed rules regarding cannabis consumption areas. And we'll also be looking to bolster our capacity to respond to this expanding market. So I thank everyone for their patience and participating in this process with us so that we can make New Jersey's cannabis industry the best that it can be. And then lastly, I want to note that we have invited some representatives from licensees to speak to the board. So those individuals, when your entity's name is called upon, just come up to the front. You'll be offered 4 minutes to share your remarks, and we'll have the board ask maybe a couple questions. And that is all I have for the chair's remarks today.
Next on the agenda is the Executive Director's Report.
Director Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioners, and congrats to all on the 2-year anniversary. Thank you to everybody who's been fighting this fight for the last 2 years and longer. The last 2 weeks are pretty monumentous in New Jersey cannabis history because 5 years ago also marked the beginning of the reform of the medical program that kind of kicked off this whole thing and got us, on this path to really making true history in the last 2 years. So I want to thank everybody for that. And I want to most of all thank the staff so that me and Diana don't have to draft resolutions the weekend before the meetings. So we've come a long way. We have a much longer way to go. So on that, I'm going to keep this relatively short because we have a pretty packed agenda. So just an update on license applications. We've now received over 1,800 applications have been submitted and are under review. Only 57 of those have yet to go to the completeness review portion of that process. I want to give some stats on where we are on review times. So with conditionals, licensing is generally, and this is dependent on the application, but generally getting through conditionals with new conditionals within 4 weeks. Conversions are averaging about 7 weeks in licensing, about 14 weeks in investigations. Annual license applications are spending average 9 weeks in licensing, 13 weeks in investigations. Then you add on that, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks for QC and then the board prep process to ultimately get to a state of approval. But we're making headway on that. We're working on efficiency to get that down even more, adding more staff. Everybody's getting better at doing the things that they do. Next slide, please. Some really encouraging signs. More conditionals are applying to convert to annual. There's now over 207 conditional conversions that have been submitted and are under review. Many of those have made it through licensing at this point and are in investigations, and our team are working through them. Up for consideration today, 62 conditional applications, 3 conditional to annual conversions, and 6 annual applications. And then, last but not least, since we last spoke, just wanted to highlight additional openings. So we have a new medicinal dispensary that has opened up, and the details for it are on our website, Restore NJ. And then approved at the last meeting and now operational Block with 2 locations has expanded into recreational, offering both medicinal and recreational sales at their 2 locations. And with that, I will turn it back to you, Chairwoman Guido.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board for Director Brown regarding his executive director's report? All right, hearing none, we will move on.
Next on the agenda is the Public Engagement and Education Committee report.
So for this report, I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Barker to provide a report out on the Public Engagement and Education Committee's work.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, everyone in attendance. Good afternoon, everybody joining us virtually. Commissioner Nash and I just want to share a brief update from the Public Engagement and Education Committee based on public feedback that you all have given us and based on, as we know, the need to further educate not only the cannabis community, but the general community at large. So we're going to be launching a safe use public information campaign that focuses on 2 main goals. One, discouraging the use of cannabis by people 21 and younger, especially as we know those who don't have medical conditions that justify underage use. The second is to encourage safe use among adult users. Target audiences that we envision will be segmented for children up to 17 years old, 18 to 20-year-olds, parents, guardians of small children, both inexperienced and experienced consumers, pregnant women, nursing mothers, the handicapped, elders, drivers, employers, employees, advocates, and patients, among others. We hope that the campaign focuses on different topics and is offered in different languages. That's the expectation. And so we'll, as a committee, continue to keep you updated on next steps regarding the campaign. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Barker. Are there any questions from the board regarding Commissioner Barker's committee report?
Not a question, but more of a statement.
Commissioner Del Secoso.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I heard that it is going to be a multilingual campaign, so I'm very happy to hear that. Especially, and I don't know if this is in the plan that you and Commissioner Nash are working on, but also educating immigrants and the undocumented population. I think we have to do our best to ensure that we educate this community because, again, possession of cannabis is still a deportable offense. So we have to ensure that they are in the know of what it means, what legalization means in New Jersey. But I'm very happy to hear that you guys are doing a lot of work and it will be a multilingual campaign.
Absolutely. Commissioner Del Secoso couldn't said it better, and the immigrant community will absolutely be included.
Anything else? All right. Thank you, Commissioner Barker. Commissioner Barker, was there something else that you?
I did want to acknowledge the undocumented.
Okay,
So I did
okay.
want to say, I didn't know if immigrant, I wanted to be clear that immigrants and undocumented were just
Okay,
undocumented individuals.
gotcha. Thanks. All right. Anything else on the committee report? If not, we'll move on.
Next up on the agenda is the Permitting and Licensing Committee report.
All right, so I will turn this over to Commissioner Del Secoso to provide an update on the Permitting and Licensing Committee's work.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon. Today, the committee is going to discuss a few items. So the process for extension request. Number 2, the extension request that we have issued up to in the last 2 months of this year, and the committee's observations. So who qualifies for these extension requests? And those are the 2019 RFA awardees, conditional license awardees, and annual license awardees. You can submit your request to that email address at least 15 days before the applicable deadline. And I want to emphasize on at least 15 days because the committee is seeing that applicants are submitting extension requests without supporting documentation. And we have staff reaching out to the applicants for additional information so that we can make an informed decision. So those 15 days gives us that flexibility to request additional information. If approved, entities must submit a mobilization plan. And there is information posted on our website, so I do encourage applicants to see that process that's posted on our website, so please see those instructions. Next slide. And we have issued in the month of February, 7 extension requests were approved, and these are the entities that were approved for an extension request of 45 days. And I'm just gonna go over the list of those that were issued an extension. Next is March 2023. 46 extensions requests were approved in the month of March. 45 of those were adult use conditional and 1 2019 ATC. If we can just continue through that list. Give it a couple of moments because I know it's an extensive list. And lastly, committee's observation. So this is important because Commissioner Wanger and I have, the chairwoman and I have just observed some things that have come up as we reviewed this extension request. And these are the reasons why applicants are requesting these extensions. So number one is the lack of or delay with site control in real estate. So we have seen that applicants are having issues finding a location, so a brick and mortar facility, or gaining site control. Some of these LOIs that they have submitted are falling through, and we have to acknowledge that they have high and competitive real estate markets at the local level, and that's due to local caps and municipalities that have yet to opt in. And number two, delays on municipal approvals as another issue that we have seen with these applicants that are requesting an extension, especially those local municipalities that have created their own cannabis board approval process, which some of these local boards have different meeting dates, and it is slowing down the process. So that's the reason number two as to why they are requesting these extensions. And the lack of sufficient funding is still an issue for a lot of entrepreneurs. So we do acknowledge that they're still struggling to find some funding to build this business. And I would like to remind the public that NJEDA just launched their grant program, the Cannabis Grant Program, and they're going to launch, I believe it's April 20, so 4/20. There are some webinars out there that they are putting together, a lot of good information, so I do encourage applicants to look at that or reach out to NJEDA directly. And that concludes my report unless you have anything else to add, Madam Chair, and I'm happy to take any questions from our colleagues.
Thank you, Commissioner Del Coso. The only thing I want to emphasize is when it comes to the municipal approval delays. I mean, that's a real. We see it in the requests that we've been getting, right? Especially for those municipalities that do have a local body that is required to weigh in on the process, especially if there's a particular chronological order in which the businesses have to get these approvals. It really is slowing things down. So for any municipal officials who are watching, we encourage you to keep things simple, right? The CRC has put guidance on our website that can help municipalities avoid having to recreate the wheel so that applicants can move through the municipal processes as smoothly and as quickly as possible. Because the conditional licenses are only valid for a certain period of time, it just becomes very difficult for our business owners to be able to keep up with the municipal timelines as well as this limited duration of the conditional license. And that's all that I would add to that committee report. Thank you, Commissioner Del Coso. Are there any questions from the board regarding the Permitting and Licensing Committee's report? Hearing none. All right, then we will move on.
Next item on the agenda is the consideration of applications for name changes.
Director Brown, you have the floor to provide a summary of the staff's recommendations on the request for name changes that have been received.
Thank you, Madam
Madam Chair. We have 3 name change requests recommended for approval. Unity Road CJ1 LLC, the proposed new name is Unity Road Cannabis Shop LLC. Lady M NJ LLC, proposed new name is Royal M LLC. Newton CB LLC, proposed new name is Skylands Herbal LLC. They've all submitted the letter with a request and filed an amendment with the New Jersey Department of Treasury, Division of Revenue and Enterprise Services. So they've complied with our regs and are recommended for approval.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board? Hearing none, do I hear a motion on this matter?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the application to change the business names for Unity Road, Lady M and J, and Newton CB.
Moved by Commissioner Nash. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Del Cid Coso. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none. Ms. Joanna, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Del Cid Coso,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wenu.
Yes.
The resolution passes. Next item on the agenda is the consideration of applications for location changes.
Director Brown, can you please provide a summary of the requests that have been made to the commission regarding a location change?
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair. And this is, I believe, one of the first we've had, both under the commission and before that, the Department of Health, for a operating location to change location. So what we have here is a proposal from Acreage CCF New Jersey to change their location from their site in Atlantic City on the boardwalk to a site in Pennsauken. So they've submitted a letter requesting the move. They've outlined why they're requesting the move and have outlined plans with regards to the move, as well as it included site control, evidence of site control, evidence of municipal approval at the new site. The fee to apply for a change of location for an ATC is $10,000. They've supplied everything pursuant to our regs that they were required to submit. We are recommending them for approval, but with a condition that they, before being issued a permit at their new location, and they will have to undergo construction and pass an inspection at the new location before they move and shut down transition at the old location, is that they submit a patient transition plan to the CRC to outline how they're going to transition, assist their current patients who go to the botanist located on the Atlantic City Boardwalk to other ATCs in the area, either their other location at Egg Harbor Township or the other medicinal locations operating with Atlantic City or whatever's most amenable to those patients. So that is the one additional condition that's being recommended along with this approval, but otherwise they are recommended for approval for this location change.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board for Director Brown on this item? Hearing none, is there a motion on this item?
Madam Chair, I move to adopt this resolution to approve the application to change location for Acreage CCCF New Jersey dispensary.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second? I will second the motion. Is there any discussion on this motion?
A brief discussion, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Barker.
I'm just a little concerned because I don't believe the patient transition plan as provided gave us enough evidence that the entity will assist patients, right? These are our patients who have to transition to other dispensaries. And so for me, the concern is we're proposing to potentially approve an applicant and then get their transition plan, as opposed to getting their transition plan, ensuring that our patient community is taken care of, and then moving them forward. And so I'm very concerned, not a little concerned, I'm concerned about that.
So I do want to clarify, reiterate something that I believe Director Brown mentioned, and I'll turn it over to Director Brown to confirm or deny. So I believe that the patient transition plans have not yet been received, right? They will request, staff's recommendation is that they request acreage to provide patient transition plans. But to your point about making sure that the transition plans are sufficient, I would propose that we could amend the resolution to make it very clear that the approval would be provided that the entity submits an adequate patient transition plan to the commission that is, to the satisfaction of the commission staff before the permit is issued. So that would be my consideration, but I do want to give Director Brown an opportunity to respond on what the patient transition plan issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the intent here, is that we would not issue a permit for the new facility or authorize ultimately authorize that operations to begin there until we had a patient transition plan, until we saw that it was satisfactory, that it was enacted, and that those patients were adequately transitioned to other facilities. I will note that thankfully there are more locations, medicinal locations in Atlantic City now. I think Acreage CCF was the first, and now there are a number there. So there are options, but I agree with you, Commissioner Barker, that making sure that the patients are taken care of is our number one priority, which is why having them submit a detailed plan and have that be reviewed and to the satisfaction of commission staff before they make that move is critical to this approval.
Thank you, Director Brown. Commissioner Barker, it looked like, did you want to say anything in response? If not, I'll open the floor broadly to anybody else who wanted to chime in for discussion on this.
I reserve a comment.
Okay.
I just feel like there was a rejection of their patient access plan. And so I haven't seen anything since then that suffices to evidence that they are adequately transitioning patients. Right? There was a plan submitted, I believe it was denied, and now here we are proposing potentially to move them forward on the condition that they provide a plan. My thought would be that we get the plan and ensure that it's adequate for patients before voting on a matter that transitions somebody to another location. I'll reserve my.
So it seems that there's a question, though, of whether or not the patient transition plan was submitted and rejected by staff. Director Brown, do you want to?
I don't believe we've rejected any plan. I think they've indicated that they will transition patients, but what we're asking for is a detailed plan with exactly how that's going to happen. The resources available for patients in finding locations. To my knowledge, that has not been submitted, and that's why we're, and in the proposed resolution, it's included to include that condition on the approval, so that we can, and it's in the, recommended in the recommendation memo, so that we can ensure that they follow through with that. My understanding is that there's a length of time here that will happen between the approval and an approval here and when the facility is actually ready for inspection, which will give ample time to vet that out and make sure that they're doing everything that they need to do to transition those patients to other locations.
Okay, and again, I just want to, that's the key. I don't think it's a CRC thing as much as it's ensuring that the entity is representing and evidencing that they are adequately transitioning patients. And again, I don't know Atlantic City well. Anybody can correct me if I am wrong, but the few times I've been to Atlantic City, it does seem like there may be a disconnect from some of the main hubs and some of the outer areas. And so I don't know that every patient can just so easily transition to a new location in or around Atlantic City.
Certainly, so I think that's why patient transition plan would be needed to discuss that, right? If staff are satisfied with the patient transition plan, it sounds like there are two parts here that would be happening on the ground. We've got one part being the patient transition plan that would need to be to the satisfaction of the commission staff, and then separately, the facility itself, the new facility itself would still need to undergo an on-site assessment and be issued, and pass that on-site assessment before any permit would be issued or transferred to the new location. Is that correct? Is that accurate, Director Brown?
That is accurate, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Director Brown.
Any other discussion on this motion to approve the resolution of the application to change a location for acreage CCF NJ dispensary?
Madam Chairwoman, point of information.
Vice Chair Delgado, just turn your microphone on.
Thank you for the, thank you for the elevation. Just a point of information, isn't there already a medical dispensary, another medical dispensary in Atlantic City?
I believe now two?
Say again?
I think there's two.
There's two of them?
Yeah, there's two additional ones now.
All right, so folks that wouldn't be able to go to the new location can go to dispensary, the other one.
Yeah, we just want to make sure that patients, particularly the most vulnerable, are being provided with their options and assisted in making that transition.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right. So you can specify some additional meat on the bones for a location change in a final agency decision. I believe there's also labor requirements that would follow the entity to the new location, and so that will need to be spelled out as well, just to make it very clear that the board, any approval is conditioned on adherence to the existing labor peace agreement or any other labor agreements that are in place at the current facility. And as to the promotion, Vice Chair, I believe you have also promoted Director Brown to Commissioner at least more than one occasion.
I think 3 occasions.
I politely declined.
Oh, my point, do I?
Go ahead. Yes,
I mean, my
please.
point is that if a CVS closed down, CVS patients will go to Rite Aid. Okay.
So all right, is there any other discussion on this motion to approve the location change? All right, hearing no further discussion, Ms. Joannem, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Del Cid Cosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wenu,
On the condition that the final agency decision issued to the entity, my vote is yes, on the condition that the final agency decision issued to the entity specifies and clarifies that the patient transition plan must be to the satisfaction of the commission staff, and that any labor agreements already in place for the facility must remain in place at a minimum at the new location.
the resolution passes. Next item on the agenda is the consideration of medicinal cannabis applications for MPX New Jersey ATC Satellite Dispensary.
Thank you, Ms. Joannem. Director Brown, can you please provide a summary and staff's recommendations for the medical cannabis application for MPX?
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair. So the commission has before it an application for opening a satellite medicinal dispensary for MPX New Jersey LLC. They're authorized under the statute to operate satellite dispensaries. This would be the first of those. The proposed location is 581 Berlin Cross Keys Road in Gloucester, New Jersey. I can tell you that they've completed build-out of that location. They submitted all the required SOPs. I believe they are close, if not have already passed an inspection for this facility, but they require board approval because they were not approved under the Department of Health like a number of other facilities. They did not have all the requisite requirements at that time. They have since completed their application and completed their submission, and therefore are recommended for approval at this location for a satellite medicinal dispensary at 581 Berlin Cross Keys Road in Gloucester Township, New Jersey.
Thank you, Director Brown. Are there any questions from the board for Director Brown? Hearing no questions, do I hear a motion on this matter?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the application by MPX New Jersey for the permitting of a satellite dispensary location for medicinal cannabis.
Moved by Commissioner Nash. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Del Cid Coso. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, Ms. Joynham, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Del Cid Coso,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash.
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wenu.
Yes.
The resolution passes. Next item on the agenda for consideration are conditional license applications.
Thank you. Director Brown, can you please provide a summary of the conditional license applications received by staff?
Absolutely, and thank you, Madam. Additional license type. There's 12 cultivators, 11 manufacturers, and 39 retailers. There's 1 cultivator, 4 retailers, and 1 testing lab. The breakdown for these businesses are among the conditionals. There's 11 social equity businesses, 35 diversely owned businesses, and 8 impact zone businesses. For the conversions, 2 social equity businesses, 1 diversely owned business. And of the annuals, out of the 6, 5 are diversely owned businesses, 2 disabled veteran, 1 minority business enterprise, and 2 WBEs, women-owned business enterprises. The process for all of these are very similar. They are assigned, after they're submitted, they're assigned a priority based on the type of application. That priority is verified based on the supporting documentation the applicant submits. They are assessed for completeness to make sure they've submitted everything they need to submit required by regulation in the notice of application acceptance. Those that are deemed complete are then scored. If they score sufficiently high, then they're then moved forward in the process. They are all reviewed for qualification, limitations, financial, and looks at financial management, and management agreements. For those, for conditional conversions and for annuals, they are given an in-depth qualification review. This includes a criminal history background check, as well as a probity review, essentially look at the source of funds as they exist at the time of application. And then finally, we conduct quality control, and then they are recommended to the CRC board for approval. We're starting with the conditional license applications, and I'll note that these have been reviewed by not only our Director of Licensing, the Director of Compliance and Investigations, our Deputy Executive Director, but also our legal counsel, and then I've provided a final review and concur with their recommendation to approve these. And we'll be starting with the 62 conditional license applications. Back to you, Madam Chair, while Daniel goes through the list up there. And reminder to everybody in the audience, we're now posting the list online before the board meeting, so if you missed something on the slides, you can go and look at our website and find the information there.
And also rewatch this board meeting on YouTube. Because we are streaming live. All right. All right. So thank you, Director Brown. Are there any questions for Director Brown regarding the information that he shared? Hearing none, do I hear a motion on this item?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the conditional license fees.
Motion has been made to approve the applications. Approve the applications for a conditional license by Commissioner Barker. Is there a second?
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Nash. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, Ms. Joynham, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Del Coso,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wenu.
Yes.
The resolution passes. Next item for consideration are the conditional license conversions to annual license applications.
Thank you, Ms. Joynham. Director Brown, can you please provide a summary of the annual license applications received?
Yes, and these are the conditionals applying to convert to annual license.
Yes.
We have 3 up for consideration. These all followed the process I outlined previously, so I'm incorporating that in the record by way of reference. And the 3 up for consideration are Organic Farms, which is a retailer, Simply Pure Trenton, New Jersey Incorporated, which is a retailer, and the Cannabis Place 420 Corp., which is also a retailer. They have all gone through the full process as outlined before and are recommended for approval by the CRC board.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board regarding the information provided? No questions. Do I hear a motion on this matter?
Madam Chair, I move to adopt this resolution, considering the applications to convert from conditional to annual Class 5 cannabis retail licenses.
Moved by Commissioner Del Coso. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Barker. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, Ms. Joynham, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Del Coso,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wenu.
Yes.
The resolution passes.
Please settle down. Like, I know it's an exciting time. Congratulations. But please, we got a whole lot of stuff to do. All right, Ms. Joynham, can you please announce the next item, please? Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is for consideration are the annual license applications.
All right, Director Brown, can you please provide a summary of the direct to annual license applications that were received?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Additionally, these followed the same process, went through priority assignment, verification, completeness review, scoring, were reviewed for qualifications, limitations, financial management agreement review. There was quality control conducted, and these have all met all those standards in the estimation of staff and are recommended for approval. There's 1 cultivator, 4 retailers, and 1 testing laboratory, all recommended for approval by the CRC Board of Commissioners.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board regarding the information Director Brown provided? No questions. Do I hear a motion on this matter? Last call for a motion on this matter. I will make a motion to approve the annual license applications for Class 1 cannabis cultivator, Class 5 cannabis retailer, and testing laboratory licenses. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Del Coso. Thank you. Is there any discussion on this motion to approve the annual license applications? Hearing no-
Brief, very brief. I know we have a lot, but I'd be remiss not to talk about what I see.
So Commissioner Barker, you now have the floor.
My apologies, Chairwoman. And in the interest of not having a meeting, I'm just trying to understand. I know we're looking to increase the trend of more applicants being proposed that reflect the diversity and inclusion, that represent communities most targeted. I just find it concerning. We have a limited selection, and then in that selection, I believe 5 out of 6, maybe majority owned by white persons. 0 out of these 6 are majority owned by black persons. 0 out of 6 are majority owned by Hispanics. We have another. We may not have a meeting in May, which I'm hopeful we can, as a board, as a staff, better understand what is the cause of not seeing more Black and Hispanic majority-owned businesses being proposed for annual and conversion awards.
All right, thank you, thank you, Commissioner Brown. I'm sorry, ooh, good grief.
Y'all are trying to bring me up there.
I know, now I'm doing it, Jesus. Thank you, Commissioner Barker. Director Brown, I've been hanging around this one too long. Director Brown, do you wish to respond to Commissioner Barker's comments? I'm not sure if you've got the data breakdown on the
So,
applicants.
Just a quick note, and I should have mentioned this in the executive director's report. We are scheduled for our quarterly data report, but we're not able to do that now. We're going to be doing it at the next meeting due to some issues. But we did put together some preliminary numbers, and I believe this is based on, this is inclusive of the proposed awards in April. But 65% of conversion and annual awardees to date have identified.
Sorry, Director Brown, you'll have to speak into the microphone.
Sorry. 65% of conversion and annual awardees to date have identified as either Black, Latin, Asian, or another race observed by the state's minority certification. It looks like about 15% would be certified under Black-owned. 21, is that 21%?
We're still finalizing.
We're still
these numbers,
finalizing this.
the
So
percentages,
anyway,
but yeah.
but 63% minority or minority women-owned, and we'll have the exact data breakdown of what both the total POIs look like as well as the majority ownership report that we shared last time looks like at our next meeting.
Thank you, Director Brown. Any other discussion on this item?
Yes.
Commissioner
I would
Nash.
just like to add that, the numbers on paper are what they are, but what we see during our reviews, especially when you follow the money, is that most of these minority-owned businesses are funded by very wealthy white individuals. And, I understand that there is a lack of funds, and hopefully the EDA monies will help some, but I don't know whether we can call this true equity ownership, and I'm not so sure what the answer is, but we are cognizant of it.
So I think that, please, y'all, thank you. So thank you, Commissioner Nash. When it comes to, as for my own views on this matter, I'll reiterate to start with. I'll reiterate what I said before, which is that the CRC and certainly the board has no weight or can't control who applies, nor can we control who decides to partner with others for funding, right? I think we have done a great job of providing, of working with the New Jersey Economic Development Authority to make grants available, with the New Jersey Business Action Center to make technical assistance available to folks so that our New Jersey entrepreneurs feel empowered and ready to take on these business ventures. But when it comes to private business decisions, there's a limit to what we as government can do. There's a limit to what we as government can do to shape what those private business decisions look like. I think, given the numbers that Director Brown has shared, I'm very encouraged actually, about the prospects of our work to set up prioritized application review for entities with these state-certified minority-owned businesses. And I also hope that we see more businesses, more minority-owned businesses that are able to self-fund, right? I think that's a shared goal of all of ours. But at the end of the day, when we have people of color who do come in person to our meeting to support and be and hope for approvals of their businesses, I think that really can I think it speaks volumes, right? And so I'm glad that we have approved a number, well, we've approved all of the minority-owned businesses that have gotten an annual award thus far, and I hope to see more of it. But I share your concern and your desire to see more self-funding be made really accessible for any of our entrepreneurs, especially those of color. Any other discussion on this item, this motion to approve the annual licenses? Hearing no further discussion, Ms. Joynham, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Del Coso,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wenu.
In the words of my honorable vice chair, enthusiastic yes.
The resolution passes. Next item on the agenda up for consideration is the expanded ATC certifications.
Thank you. Director Brown, can you please provide a summary of those entities wishing to expand into the adult use market and their certification materials provided to the CRC?
Yes, absolutely. We have a number of entities that have been operating in the medicinal market who have certified to the CRC to expand to adult use operations. First on that list is MPX New Jersey, specifically a Class 1 cultivator, Class 2 manufacturer, and a Class 5 retailer. We look at municipal approval, proof of sufficient supply to continue to meet patient need after a proposed expansion, plans to ensure patient access, and then as well corresponding plans for social equity and safety. Their certification has been reviewed by staff. We've found that they've met the criteria for all of these things. And on the supply, we looked at patient numbers, looked at their inventory, looked at both patient enrollment overall as well as patient enrollment at this particular ATC. We believe that the evidence submitted has shown that they have the ability to expand to support adult use operations, both at their cultivation and manufacturing site and at their Atlantic City Class 5 retailer, or their dispensary, which is up for consideration for a Class 5 retailer. So MPX New Jersey is recommended for approval to accept this certification to expand into the adult use market.
Are there any questions from the board on the information provided by staff? All right. Hearing no discussion, or no questions, I apologize. Do I hear a motion on this matter?
Madam Chair, I move to accept the certification for the ATC MPX New Jersey to expand operations to AU.
Is there a second?
Madam Chair, I second it.
Seconded by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, Ms. Joynham, can you please call the vote as it pertains to the acceptance of the certification materials for MPX New Jersey?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Del Coso,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Vice Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wenu,
Yes.
and the resolution passes.
All right. With respect to, what's the next one? My apologies, y'all.
Sweet spot.
Sweet Spot, thank you. With respect to Sweet Spot, is there a motion?
And just quickly, Madam Chair, since we're going to the votes, the next here followed the same process with MPX. It is Sweet Spot Dispensary, which is in Voorhees, Holistic Solutions, and which is in the Atco, and then Valley Wellness, which is in Raritan. And they've all followed the same review, the same process, submitted the same materials. We think they have the supply, the capacity, and all the approvals in place to be able to expand to adult use sales.
Thank you.
Apologies, it looks like I may have skipped over. Did I skip over one? Let's see. All right, so we've done MPX, and next we have Sweet Spot. Okay. So then we gotta go back up to, all right, so with respect to Sweet Spot, certification materials to expand into the adult use cannabis market, is there a motion?
Madam
But-
Chairwoman, I move that we approve expanded ATC certification for Sweet Spot into the AU market.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Del Cid Coso. Is there any discussion on this motion as it relates to Sweet Spot? Hearing no discussion, Ms. Joannem, can you please call the vote on the motion to approve the certification materials from Sweet Spot?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Del Cid Coso,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Vice Chair, Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wenu.
Yes, we're all getting promotions today, apparently.
Thank you, and the resolution passes.
All right. Yeah, we've been hanging out too long. All right, next we have Valley Wellness. All right. Is there a motion with respect to Valley Wellness's certification materials to expand into the adult use market?
I move, Madam Chair, that we consider Valley Wellness to move into the adult use market.
Moved by Commissioner Barker. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Del Cid Coso. Is there any discussion on this motion as it relates to Valley Wellness? Hearing no discussion, Ms. Joannem, can you please call the vote on the motion to approve, to accept the certifications from Valley Wellness?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Del Cid Coso,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wenu.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
All right, and then lastly, we have Holistic Solutions. Is there a motion with respect to Holistic Solutions?
Yes. I move to accept the certification for ATC Holistic Solutions to expand operations to the AU cannabis market.
Thank you.
And Madam Chairwoman, I enthusiastically second.
Moved by Commissioner Nash and enthusiastically seconded by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there any discussion on this motion to accept the certification materials from Holistic Solutions? Hearing no discussion, Ms. Joannem, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Del Cid Coso,
Enthusiastic, yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Absolutely.
Commissioner Nash,
And enthusiastic, yes.
Chairwoman Wenu.
Yes, I'm just gonna have to come up with
I just
a
want to say there's a bunch
thesaurus.
of copycats up there.
The resolution passes. Next item on the agenda for consideration are annual license renewal applications.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Joannem. Director Brown, can you please provide a summary of staff's recommendations for the annual license renewal?
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair. And the way I'm going to do this is sort of walk through the process for all of them, go over the recommendations. I'm going to kick it to Chris to see if there are any legal considerations with any of them, and then finally Wesley McWhite to provide an assessment on social equity. So as far as the renewals go, the statutory and regulatory requirements are pretty simple. ATCs that have expanded need to certify to the Commission to the continued material accuracy of their previously approved ATC license application and its compliance with the Act concerning cannabis or cannabis items, and submit a new written approval from the municipality in which the expanded ATC is located, approving the continued cannabis operations as a cannabis business. There are 7 entities up for renewal. All of them have submitted the requisite documents requesting renewal. They have submitted updates testing to the material accuracy to their certifications, updated municipal approvals. As far as the review process, we also, our compliance staff looked at to make sure that they're maintaining patient access, the patient access provisions that they're required to do as part of the final agency decisions that approve them to expand to adult use. I can tell you that there have certainly been some infractions over the course of the last year. Where they've been issued violations and appropriately penalized and course corrected. In addition to in addition to these, in talking to compliance and in the materials, they note that there's no significant remaining considerations or issues related to those patient access provisions. So each of these entities submitted the executed adult use cannabis license renewal certification, written support from the local municipality, as well as certification to their ongoing compliance with the material requirements or what they put in their original certification. In total, there are 29 licenses recommended for renewal here. It is my estimation, the estimation of staff, that all 29 of these licenses have met the renewal requirements as required by statute and by our corresponding regulations. And I'm just going to run through four. There are four up for consideration for Acreage CCF. That's a Class 1 cultivator, Class 2 manufacturer, and 2 Class 5 retailers. For Ascend, there are 3 up for consideration. And just a quick clerical note, one's a Class 1 cultivator, two's a Class 2 manufacturer, and then their Class 5 retailer in Rochelle Park. Just a note for changing the resolution, their Montclair location is included in the draft resolution, but the Montclair location is not recommended for approval yet. We expect that once we have all the documentation necessary to move that one forward. So that's 3 licenses for Ascend. For Columbia Care, there are 4 licenses recommended for renewal. They're Class 1 cultivator, Class 2 manufacturer, Class 5 retailer in Vineland, and Class 5 retailer in Deptford. For Carole Leaf, there are 5 licenses recommended for renewal, 2 Class 1 cultivators, 1 in Winslow, 1 in Belmar, Class 2 manufacturer in Winslow, Class 5 retailer in Belmar, and Class 5 retailer in Edgewater Park. For GTI or RISE, there are 4 licenses recommended for renewal, Class 1 cultivator and Class 2 manufacturer in Patterson, Class 5 retailer in Patterson, and a second Class 5 retailer in Bloomfield. For Terrace, New Jersey, there are 4 licenses recommended for renewal, Class 1 cultivator and Class 2 manufacturer in Boonton, Class 5 retailer in Maplewood, and a Class 5 retailer in Phillipsburg. And finally, for Verano, there are 4 licenses recommended for renewal here. Class 1 cultivator and Class 2 manufacturer in Branchburg, Class 5 retailer in Elizabeth, and a Class 5 retailer in Lawrence. Process-wise, these have been reviewed by compliance, reviewed by investigations, reviewed by legal, looked at by our deputy executive director and corresponding staff, looked at by me, and they are all recommended for approval. I'm going to just give it to Chris briefly to see if there were any legal concerns that were raised related to these renewals before passing it to Wesley.
Thank you. Is this on? Oh, okay. Thank you, Executive Director Brown. In accordance with the regulations and statute, all of these ATCs have submitted the requisite information and materials to continue their operations until adult use. They've satisfied the criteria 17:30-9.4, and legal has reviewed the submissions and is satisfied with those submissions. So I will kick it now over to Wesley McWhite, our Director of Diversity and Inclusion.
Almost said amen. Madam Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board, our executive staff, CRC staff, and all of you here. Very briefly, I do want to be quick, but I do want to be thorough and complete. Our approach to social equity initiatives in the first year of New Jersey's adult use market is to give expanded ATCs the opportunity to set up the first year of their efforts here in New Jersey, to see what can and would be done in this space, so that we can increase collaboration between the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, we call ODI, the CRC, and these businesses, and to exceed expectations for this board, staff, and the public. New Jersey stands proud to be one of the few states that monitor social equity, diversity, and inclusion efforts of large cannabis businesses at this magnitude, scale, and effort with an emphasis on transparency and accountability. Before I begin, I want to thank the Office of Diversity and Inclusion staff, Glenn Walker, I don't think he's in here, but Nana, and Ponsa for countless hours of meetings, calls, emails, time spent reading and analyzing reports, and lending their expertise to this process and to this office. The Office of Diversity and Inclusion has received over 80 monthly reports and supplemental reports with over 500 pages of documented social equity, diversity, and inclusion work from those that are up for renewal today. A countless number of individual and collective meetings with staff members responsible for social equity efforts, dozens of requests for more information, a countless number of emails, phone calls, and face-to-face interactions. These monthly reports included good faith efforts to achieve true diversity and inclusion through hiring and vendor contracting. Beyond that, we have received reports on which New Jersey-based nonprofits have received donations and grants, employees hired from impact zones or economically disadvantaged areas of our state, job and career fairs, expungement clinics across our state, the number of New Jerseyans expanded ATCs have helped file expungement petitions, support for cannabis businesses who are currently seeking annual licensure or striving to become operational, volunteer hours in the community, and etc. So far, within this year, expanded ATCs have reported to us, and we verified that they have been responsible and are spearheaded over 350 expungement petitions filed or granted here in the state of New Jersey. Approximately $775,000 to over 40 New Jersey-based nonprofits and organizations, which includes churches, cannabis business education and training nonprofits, civil rights organizations, reentry nonprofits, LGBTQIA+ organizations, child care nonprofits, veterans organizations, and minority chambers of commerce. They have also led or sponsored over 20 career fairs across the state, nearly 1,000 new hires within this year, and support for cannabis business license holders, and even so much so that some ATCs, expanded ATCs that are up for renewal, are advocating for potential license holders at the municipal level before city council meetings. They're initiating tours with license holders, conditional or annual, mentorship and training for license holders and potential license holders. But there are areas of improvement. And while we applaud and emphasize the efforts of expanded ATCs in their first year good faith social equity efforts, many do have some areas that need improvement. A particular area of improvement is meaningful support for cannabis businesses. For example, I want to remind expanded ATCs and inform the public that it is the responsibility of the expanded ATC to keep us updated regarding the initiatives they placed in their original social equity plan at the time of expansion just about a year ago. For example, letters of intent, wholesale agreements, and other agreements for social equity or diversely owned cannabis businesses. I'm also challenging expanded ATCs who have a large national presence and national equity programs to mirror those programs in New Jersey so they have on-the-ground impact here. Vendor contracting, another area of improvement, is important and crucial to fulfilling good faith social equity efforts. While we applaud opportunities to diversify the supply chain with nationally recognized and diversely owned cannabis brands, vendor contracting must go beyond that and seek to build upon efforts to work the New Jersey-based diversely owned contractors, vendors, and businesses. The burden is also on the CRC, and particularly this office, to collaborate with the industry on the parameters of things like direct mentorship, financial support, ramifications, incubation, and complex wholesale agreements for new emerging cannabis businesses. And the Office of Diversity and Inclusion will continue to commit to do that in the coming weeks. To be clear, expanded ATCs have constantly been told to put everything in their reports that demonstrate evidence of good faith social equity efforts and beyond. It is not the responsibility of the office or CRC staff to constantly ask for updates, as these should be provided continuously and regularly, even if they fall beyond the monthly reports. So in closing, the Office of Diversity and Inclusion is not recommending denials of any expanded ATC renewals, but rather seeking more time for collaboration and growth. For those that have not provided enough evidence in reports or supplemental material, we will seek to work with those expanded ATCs to get specific information that this board and staff are seeking. The Office of Diversity and Inclusion's approach in the social equity space is to always underscore a collaborative relationship between expanded ATCs and the CRC to help truly achieve an equitable and safe market. I want to give a special shout out to diversity and inclusion officers, corporate responsibility officers, and frontline staff who organize and volunteer with community-based organization in events throughout our state. You all are the lifeblood of the work that has been done this past year. And I want you to know that you are seen, that you are heard, and we value your contribution to not just the cannabis industry, but to communities across New Jersey. And this office will continue to seek your input. This is just the first year of adult use in New Jersey, and we have so much more room to grow and improve and accomplish. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Director McWhite. So just to confirm, the Office of the Executive Director, Office of Compliance and Investigations, Office of Legal, Office of Diversity and Inclusion have no concerns with moving these forward. They are all recommended for approval for renewal. All licenses that are slated for renewal and are recommended as such.
Thank you, Director Brown. Before, and for these items, we will be taking a vote on the licenses of each entity one by one. Before we do that, we will ask those representatives of those entities, to come up and share some brief remarks. Before I call on the representatives from the first entity, that being Acreage CCF, I will ask if there are any questions from the board on the information that Director Brown, Chief Counsel Riggs, or Director McWhite have provided.
Not a question, but more of a statement.
Commissioner Del Secosa.
For Director McWhite, thank you for your statement. And not to mention that, you do have something that's cooking and baking, which is the social equity report card, which I think you're going to have more information at the next meeting. But, kudos to you and your team for doing a lot of the work this past year.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments in response to staff's information? All right. Then we will move forward. Acreage CCF, I believe we have Lindsay Scheckler. So you'll have 4 minutes to provide remarks about the certification materials provided. The clock is over here to my right, your left. And afterwards, there might be some questions from the board.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. And don't forget to turn your microphone on. Thanks. Great, perfect.
Okay. So we submitted our application on Thursday, March 16th, which was the day before the deadline. I have to make that clear. We have done a number of things that, everybody here has already kind of touched upon. For our social equity goals, we partner with the Hoffman Center to do 20 expungement petitions per month. We've also partnered with the African American Chamber of Commerce of New Jersey to help identify diverse individuals in the community who are looking to get into cannabis. We are currently undergoing an expansion, and we anticipate hiring new employees who are residents of nearby impact zones as well. For patient access, we continue to remain committed to prioritizing our access to medical patients. We've recently made some updates to our staff, which include SOPs, retraining on the patient access plan to ensure that we are always serving our patients first. Especially now with the move to metric, it's made our life a little bit easier. At first it was a little difficult, but it is definitely working out in our favor. So thank you, CRC, for moving to metric. Local support, we have local support from Egg Harbor Township and Monroe Township, which is where our locations are currently in. And they continue to support our operations within the municipalities.
Carole? Oh, look at you. Efficient use of time. I love it. All right. Any questions from board members for Ms. Scheckler?
Yes, I have a question.
Commissioner Nash.
Hi there. Who is your union?
Lauren is also on behalf of Acreage CCF as well.
I'm sorry, who is that?
Lauren Fox, she was also registered as well, but she can talk on behalf of the union.
Good afternoon.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Could you repeat the question again?
Yes, who is your union?
UFCW, local.
UFCW.
Yes.
And So there is a law which, in our rules, which states that an expanded ATC must enter into a collective bargaining agreement within 200 days of the opening if a majority of employees opt to authorize that union. Where are you with that?
So we've been engaged in negotiations with the union. At first, we had, so we've been engaged in that for about a year at this point. So we've been making good faith effort towards reaching an agreement. In fact, we've met with the union approximately 15 times, including, I believe, 8 times this year. So we've been making great efforts to try to get to that place cooperatively with the union.
And are those documented, those meetings?
Yes, they are. Yes. And we've
So
been,
we had the 200-day deadline, and just wondering what happened there.
I mean, I think what we've been doing is trying to meet the regulations in terms of making those good faith efforts. I think anytime there's a first contract, it does take some time because you're starting from scratch. And so you're, working from the very beginning in terms of reaching agreement on significant issues that impact both employees and the company. And so I think that's what we've been trying to do and meeting quite diligently, including we've met multiple times, I think 5 times in the past month, and we have another meeting scheduled with the union next week.
Next week?
Mhm.
Okay. I would ask that someone from your company notify the commission if there's any more delays.
We will
Thank
do
you.
so, thank you. So I have one question. As part of your commitments to social equity efforts, there was a $19 million program, or planned for a $19 million program. Can you just speak to that a little bit?
Yes, so we're still trying to figure out the means that we're going to divide that upon. We've spent a substantial amount of money with the Hoffman Center, with the expungement clinics. So again, we're going to look to see where we can expand, where we can move into different areas, and also continue these efforts going forward. So that's also under review.
So the right now it's not finalized. It is finalized or isn't? I'm sorry.
We've made some finalization as
Okay.
far as the Hoffman Center, other groups that we've dealt with, but we're going to look to expand that to do additional things as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Del Cid Cosa.
I'd like to follow the money. So what was your budget for social equity initiatives in 2022?
Off the top of my head, I don't have that number, but we can definitely get back to you with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Acreage CCF? All right. Thank you very much to the both of you.
Thank you.
All right. So with that, I will now ask for a motion on this matter as it pertains to Acreage CCF.
I'm sorry, did you ask for discussion?
As for a motion.
Motion.
Yes. Is there a motion on,
I move.
moved by Vice Chair Delgado to, what is your motion? What is your motion?
We move to renew ATF.
All right, moved by Vice Chair Delgado to approve Acreage CCF for license renewal. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Del Cid Coso. Is there any discussion on this motion to approve Acreage CCF's renewal of their adult use licenses as recommended by staff?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a statement, and this would be for all of the ATCs up for renewal. I'm just not going to repeat it for everyone. Do I have the floor?
Yes, Commissioner Nash.
New Jersey has a long history of protecting workers' rights. In fact, Peter J. McGuire, one of the founding members of the American labor movement and a resident of South Jersey, fought for the rights of men and women throughout the nation. The principle behind such a fight was to provide fair and inclusive working conditions and wages so that both business owners and company employees can fairly share in the success of a company. And that is no different today in the evolving cannabis industry here in New Jersey. New Jersey's legislators recognize the importance of labor protections for workers when crafting the CREAM Act. In doing so, the legislators explicitly included language in the CREAM Act, which Governor Murphy signed in 2021. The CREAM Act requires cannabis businesses to maintain a labor peace agreement as a condition of licensure. Now, people have different definitions of what maintain means. You know, if you maintain your car, I don't know if that means letting it sit in a garage, but it doesn't mean in this term filing an agreement away in a drawer, but rather to implement the terms of what parties have agreed to do. It goes even further to mandate a collective bargaining agreement within 200 days of opening if a majority of employees vote to authorize a union. These requirements are not optional. It is not a challenge for companies to find a loophole in the law. It is an explicit mandate. Some New Jersey companies have followed the law, and I thank you for that. However, in my opinion, some companies have deviated from the labor requirements. Some make union access very difficult, depriving workers of their Section 7 rights of the NLRA. Some have unfair labor practices filed against them in New Jersey and other states. And we have heard from workers here at these public meetings and public comment who have personally borne the brunt of these unfair labor practices. In my opinion, these practices signal a blatant disregard of workers and their rights. And it begs the questions, how will one ever get to an authorization vote if some unions or employers aren't doing their part? Or why the flurry of activity now to get a CBA after 1 year has passed? This is unacceptable, and we need to ensure that New Jersey workers are treated fairly, and we need to fix this now. Madam Chair, turn it back to you.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash. Is there any other discussion on the motion to accept renewal of the adult use licenses from Acreage CCF? Hearing no further discussion, Ms. Joynham, can you please call the vote as it pertains to Acreage CCF?
Commissioner Barker?
Nay.
Commissioner Del Pozo?
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado?
Yes.
Commissioner Nash?
Abstain.
Chairwoman Wayne.
Yes.
Thank you, and the resolution passes.
Next, we have Ascend in J. So we'll hear from those representatives. Please come forward. Thank you.
And Madam Chair, while they're coming up, just a note, as noted before for the record, the Montclair location will be recommended at a future board meeting.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. All right. Please, go ahead. If you're doing well, thank you. So you've got 4 minutes. Clock over here is to my right and to your left, and then we may have some questions from the board. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Louis Cohn. I'm the Director of Retail Operations in New Jersey for Ascend Wellness, and I'm here for the renewal procedure today. What I'm happy to say is, just like when we came a year ago, nothing has changed with regard to our patient access. It has been maintained. Each week we send our reporting to the CRC, and our business has been there. We continue to drive through that. When you think through that, everything from our town halls, our patient access hours, weekday, weekend, AM, PM, parking, mobility concerns, order in advance timeline, and elevated patient journey for our patients. The other thing I'd like to highlight is that even before your statement, we have our signed CBAs in all of our locations with the unions that we work with for both our dispensary associates and floor leads.
Good afternoon. My name is Danielle Drummond, and I'm the Vice President of Social Equity for Ascend Wellness. In terms of our social equity commitments, we have worked diligently to achieve the goals that we've set before this commission. We are most proud of our authentic partnerships with many grassroots organizations that we've developed over this last year. In terms of expungement clinics, we have conducted 4 so far. We have partnered with Blaze Responsibly, Shirali Patel, who has helped us to conduct those clinics. It's a year-long contract that we plan to execute monthly. While we've done 4 so far, we have cleared about 115 out of those 350 records that have been cleared so far. We also doubled those clinics as resource fairs, so it's educational opportunities and opportunities for community members to access services such as mental health, case management, free food and meal sign-up services, veteran services, family services, jobs, and more. In terms of community engagement, we have also partnered with social equity applicants and various community-based organizations to sponsor things such as social equity conferences, various workshops and educational events geared towards medical card sign-up and or geared towards women in cannabis or getting others involved in cannabis. We've collected donations for local shelters and had partnered also to serve 300 meals to seniors as well as to pay for those meals. In terms of our hiring, we partnered as well to make sure that we had some diversity within our hiring. We have, out of the 700 hires, 119 who are from impact zones, 97 who are from EDA zip codes, and 5 who are returning citizens. In terms of support for social equity applicants, we provided technical assistance to over 10 social equity applicants, assisting with SOP creation, pitch decks, strategizing around retail location financing, and even thinking about how to get municipal approval. We conduct monthly tours of our cultivation facility and dispensary for social equity applicants as well as the community to keep our operations transparent. We've donated $25,000 to the Minority Cannabis Academy to support their entrepreneurial class. We also piloted a year-long fellowship program with the social equity applicant, giving him hands-on experience rotating through our different departments. We plan to launch a mentoring program in May that will expand on this partnership with MCA, as well as invite other social equity applicants to learn from our experts firsthand. We are only at the beginning of imagining what social equity could be and acknowledge that there is so much more to be done, but we are very much looking forward to deepening that impact this year.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board for our representatives from Ascend? Commissioner Del Cid Cosa.
I'll ask this question again. What was your budget for social equity initiatives in 2022?
$100,000, and we exceeded that, spending well over $200,000.
I have a question about the hires. You mentioned, excuse me, you mentioned that there were 5 individuals who you hired who are returning citizens. I presume you mean those who are coming home from incarceration.
Yes.
Could you talk a little bit about how you do that outreach to people coming home? Because that's something that I think a lot of businesses have expressed interest for, but of course we need to make, we as a collective need to be mindful of how we do that work. And so I was wondering if you could share how you do that outreach.
Sure. I think one of the ways is partnering with organizations who are particularly focused on that population. So organizations like Scores Reentry, the NJRC. We tried to partner with NJAC, but they're a little far outside of our jurisdiction, but really looking for those organizations who are working with that population. I think also our expungement clinics offer a great opportunity for that because folks come through, they're looking for jobs. It's also a job fair, so we're able to collect resumes there. And then I think just because of the community work that we've done, a lot of word of mouth. So those are kind of the 3 different ways that we've been able to source them. We're really looking to improve that process though so that we can be really intentional about where we're getting each one of the referral sources. We've noticed that that number is actually probably higher, but we're just not able to verify and track that they've come through various referrals. So we're working on that process.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much to both of you.
Thank you.
So is there a motion as it pertains to the annual license renewals for Ascend, New Jersey? Making note again that the recommendation from staff is for 3 license renewals and not for Montclair for the time being. Staff are pulling that recommendation for now. Is there a motion?
Madam Chairwoman, I move the renewal of adult use cannabis business licenses for Expanded Alternative Treatment Center for Ascend, New Jersey, noting that not for Montclair.
Thank
How's that?
Second.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado, seconded by Commissioner Del Cid Coso. Is there any discussion on this motion as it pertains to Ascend, New Jersey? Hearing none, Ms. Joanna, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Del Cid Coso,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wenu.
Yes.
The resolution passes.
Next, we have Columbia Care. Is there Kelly Rivera? Oh, right, come on down. Ms. Rivera, is it?
Yes,
Okay,
Rivera.
great. We've got 4 minutes. Clock is over here to my right, your left, and then we'll have some time for questions from the board.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Chairman Ueno, thank you. And your fellow commissioners, I'm sorry, is this on? Okay, sorry. Thank you for providing us the opportunity to speak on our continued compliance with the final agency decision that was issued for our expanded licensure last year. I'm happy to say that Columbia Care has not received any violations since receiving its expanded ATC licensure, and it even though we've expanded it into adult use sales, medical operations remain a focus of the company. And the company maintains its mission to provide this alternative medicine to patients. So among the many patient access plan provisions that we continue to maintain and enforce, I'd like to highlight a couple because it really is a strong emphasis of the company. We continue to have the 14 hours patient-only hours, 3 reserved parking spots for patients who are have mobility issues. We have express, curbside, and online ordering options and pickup. We also continue to meet all of the required inventory for medical products. We've never had any issues with selling adult use products during patient-only hours or any issues with medical patients having to wait due to the demand of adult use consumers in the dispensaries. So I'm very happy to say that our operations team has really placed a strong emphasis on that, and we continue to maintain and enforce that. So regarding the operations, we've provided timely updates throughout this year to the CRC staff regarding new products, vendor agreements, wholesale agreements, and other required documentation. We have passed all on-site inspections. Since receiving expanded ATC licensure, we've actually received approval to open up a second cultivation site in the city of Vineland. That is a separate approval that will be before you in August once that license is up for renewal. But we just continue to expand, and we continue to work with all of our employees, including being party to a labor peace agreement, and with our municipal partners, both cities, the city of Vineland and Deptford Township. Both of those are designated impact zones, and within those communities and surrounding communities, we employ 150 employees. And among the other commitments, Columbia Care continues to maintain its diversity, inclusion, equity, and social justice commitments and initiatives. Of those, we continue to support the Minority Cannabis Academy with monthly recurring sponsorships. We have a great ongoing and trusting partnership with Shiloh Baptist Church, where we support their re-entry program. We participate in their Celebrate Recovery program and support them with their own expungement services they provide. They currently have 15 individuals who are being supported through their expungement program that we're supporting. That's in addition to other expungement clinics. We also have college career fairs, and then we have 25 wholesale agreements with various licensees across the state, many of which are social equity licensees or letters of intent with those applicants. So I have 45 seconds left, so I just want to thank you all for providing this opportunity again. And again, thank you for the CRC staff for really establishing you all as trusting and really easy to communicate with state agencies. We work with a lot of different state agencies across the country, and the CRC has really set itself out as being really easy to work with and really an established, great partner. So I just have to thank you all for making operations in this state a lot easier than other nearby states as well. So I'll conclude there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for being time efficient. Look at that. Awesome. Are there any questions from the board for Ms. Rivera regarding Columbia Care? Commissioner Nash.
Hello.
So what union do you have your LPA with?
We currently have a LPA with Teamsters, and we're in active and productive collective bargaining agreements with UCFW at one of our facilities.
At one of the facilities?
Yes, in Denver.
And you have how
dispensary.
many?
We have 2 cultivation and manufacturing facilities in Vineland.
Mm-hmm.
We have a dispensary in Vineland, and we have a dispensary in Deptford. So 4 facilities total.
Okay. And are you aware of the 200-day requirement if you have a majority vote?
I'm aware from this communication, this meeting today, and also from the regulations, and I've been informed that the negotiations are active and productive, and they anticipate a resolution in the near future, but I can't speak to when that will happen, unfortunately. I'd be happy to provide an update, though, or have the Columbia Care provide routine updates on those negotiations so we can execute it as soon as possible.
I would encourage that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll ask you the same question. What was your budget for social equity initiatives in FY22?
Unfortunately, I don't have that budget, but I would be happy to provide it and by the end of day today. I just have to get that from our shared services team.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Ms. Rivera, you've talked about some of the good work that you all have been doing at Columbia Care. There have been some concerns about demonstrating the work that's happening at Columbia Care to the CRC so that the CRC can document positive efforts and work to make meaningful impacts. Can you share how you plan to communicate the work that Columbia Care is doing to our staff members so that they can properly document that and have a record of the work that you're doing?
Yes. Do you mean the social justice work, or do you mean I guess I'm not sure what area of work.
Fair
you don't mind
enough.
specifying.
Yes, specifically with regards to social equity efforts to recruit individuals, targeted individuals, and that sort of thing.
Yep. So all of our facilities, again, are in designated impact zones. So we continue our commitment to hire individuals from those communities. We also are in the college fairs where we seek out individuals who are from varying backgrounds. So we continue to encourage applicants from various backgrounds there. We could, for documentation purposes, we'd be happy to provide or include that in our monthly reporting that we submit to Director McWhite. And then whatever information that he or the commission or CRC staff may want in the future, we'd be happy to continue that correspondence. But right now, I think that maybe the monthly updates, we could include that as one of the bullet points or one of the topics that we address on a routine basis.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other questions from the board? All right, hearing none, thank you very much, Ms.
Thank you all.
Do I hear a motion with respect to the certification materials for Columbia Care to renew their license for the adult use market?
Madam Chairwoman, I move renewal of adult use cannabis business licenses for expanded alternative treatment center for Columbia Care, New Jersey LLC.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado.
Thank you.
Is there a second on this motion? Last call for a second on the motion.
Second.
Thank you. Seconded by Commissioner Del Cid Coso. Is there any discussion on this motion as it pertains to Columbia Care New Jersey LLC? Hearing no discussion, Ms. Joannem, can you please call the vote on the motion of the renewal of adult use cannabis business licenses for Expanded Alternative Treatment Center, Columbia Care New Jersey LLC?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Del Cid Coso,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Abstain.
Chairwoman Wenu.
I'm going to vote yes, but I do strongly encourage Columbia Care to work with Director McWhite to make sure that the information that is being requested is provided, because right now there is not a favorable outlook on the efforts documenting the social equity work that you're doing. So please follow up with Director McWhite and make sure that he gets all the information that he needs so that he can develop and present a positive recommendation to the board in the future. So my answer is yes.
The resolution passes.
Next, we have Carole Leaf NJ. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you for being here with us. You've got 4 minutes over here on the clock to my right. Your left will be documenting your time. Just for the record, if you don't mind sharing your name and position for the board members' benefit. And thank you. Go ahead.
Sure. Thank you very much. And good afternoon, Chair Wenu, Vice Chair Delgado, and Commissioners. My name is James Shoris. I'm the Chief Compliance Officer for Carole Leaf. With me is my colleague, Rakim Ukta, who is the Director of Corporate Responsibility at Carole Leaf. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of the adult use license renewal application. As you know, Carole Leaf takes very seriously the faith that you, the commissioners, have placed in us since our program, or since the program was commenced in April 2022. We're proud of the services we've provided to New Jersey residents since then through our Belmar facilities as well as our manufacturing and cultivation operations in Winslow. Late last year, Carole Leaf followed up the successful launch of its Edgewater Park and Bordentown dispensaries in May and November. Together, we've invested more than $50 million in the state to serve both patients and consumers. With the opening of adult use, Carole Leaf has diligently continued to prioritize its medical patients at all its dispensaries with exclusive medical hours, medical-only hours, and medical point-of-sale stations. And to further expand and ease this access for New Jersey patients, Carole Leaf began offering home delivery service to our medical patients and caregivers throughout much of the state in December 2022, and looks forward to expanding this from all of our locations soon. The level of our service to New Jersey residents is evident from the 291,000 medical transactions Carole Leaf executed since the launch of the adult use program. That represents a total of more than 32,000 New Jersey patients. The robust sales we have seen under both programs is further testament to Carole Leaf's integral role in serving the New Jersey market. Indeed, our sales have contributed more than $5 million in tax revenue for the state of New Jersey and more than $1.8 million to the local municipalities in which we operate. From a product standpoint, Carole Leaf continues to offer the same vast array of products to its patients as it always has, with the expected launch of a few exciting new options this year, including concentrates later this quarter. In addition to the tax revenue Carole Leaf has produced for New Jersey, Carole Leaf has created good-paying jobs in the communities in which we operate. Specifically, since the start of adult use, we've created more than 500 new jobs for New Jersey residents. Moreover, we're especially proud that 42% of the jobs filled in 2022 and 38% of the jobs filled so far this year have gone to those who represent diverse ethnic groups. In addition, we're also proud that our new hires have been gender diverse, with women representing 42% of new employees in 2022 and 45% so far in 2023. Carole Leaf is committed to maintaining positive relationships with its employees, which has included voluntarily recognizing the UFCW as the bargaining representative employee of our employees at the Belmar and Edgewater dispensary, and bargaining in good faith as we work toward reaching a contract. We've also made significant contributions to promoting a more equitable cannabis industry through our Rooted in Good initiative. For example, we are a proud supporter of Driving DEIB, which includes hiring initiatives targeted towards the BIPOC community in New Jersey. Moreover, our commitment to supporting social equity is exemplified by our support of the B Noble brand, where Carole Leaf partnered with Fab Five Freddy and Bernard Noble, himself previously impacted by cannabis prohibition, to expand this Black-owned brand throughout the state. 10% of B Noble sales are donated to the Trenton-based organization From the Block to the Boardroom, which provides resources and educational opportunities for those impacted by the war on drugs. More than $83,000 was donated in 2022 through this initiative. And over the past year, Carole Leaf has made contributions to community organizations such as Home of the Brave and Mercer Street Friends, a Trenton-based food bank. Finally, through our New Jersey Trade Association, we've done
Talk about
including partnering with Mercer Community College to provide scholarships for the New Jersey Cannabis Certification course, creating a social equity partnership program where we sponsored 20 social equity applicants to obtain access to New Jersey Cannabis Insiders events, and finally sponsoring the Business Builder series. There's much more I can say about our commitment to New Jersey. I'd love to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Commissioner Del Cid Coso.
So I have two questions. The first one is the social equity budget allocation for FY22. If you have that number, could you share that with us?
Yeah, so it is a national number. Our team oversees CSR across the country. Last year, it was about $500,000 in strategic partners and roughly $500,000 in donations to local organizations.
Could you get the New Jersey numbers through Wesley's office if you can after this meeting?
Yeah, I do believe Wesley should have those
Okay,
numbers.
Thank you. The second question was in regards to the renewal certification that was submitted to the CRC. There was a question that you answered yes to pertaining to facility modifications that also lays out the statute NJAC 17:30-9.2, which deals with facility modifications. And later on, so you said yes to that question, and then later on, we received notification from your senior manager informing us that you were in the process of winding down cultivation operation at the Belmar Grow site. My question is, when you signed the certification, were you contemplating these changes?
So the changes really were the results of, I'm not sure the exact timing, and I'm happy to go back and look at that. I mean, I will tell you the nature and reason for those changes was really multifaceted, including changes in the market, frankly, the cannabis market and the demand for that. The fact that our Winslow facility is really a state-of-the-art facility which is producing high-quality flower at a very efficient rate. And again, just all of the sort of considerations that go into managing a process and trying to mitigate costs where we can to keep prices down. So I can certainly check, though, on the timing of when that was done. I mean, it's a recent decision, but I'm happy to double-check that and get back to you.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Delgado? Turn your microphone on.
So my question is to the social, oh, thank you. Yeah, my question is to the social responsibility officer. I've been in your spot, so I feel for you.
Thank you.
You talk about strategic partners on a national basis. Can you tell me who your strategic partners are here in Jersey?
Yeah, so in Jersey, we're working from the block to the boardroom in particular. Mercer Street Friends is our recipient of all of our Feed the Block programming. And then we have a number of partners that are kind of nationally dispersed and then working throughout the Northeast on our behalf to address all of our strategic points.
Do you have names?
Women Grow, minorities, Marijuana Matters, a nursing group called Acute on Chronic. So really the idea is we're trying to spread education across this vast facet with these organizations and have them kind of hitting the Northeast on a rotational basis, as well as through some digital programming as well.
And these programs, are they underway right now?
Yes. Yeah, all of these partners are continuing on from last year into this year.
And do you have any data? Do you provide data to,
In terms of, we have people served, we have hours of programming, and I'd be happy to provide all of that.
all right, thank you.
I have a clarification question. You mentioned there nationally, Carole Leaf has budgeted $500,000 in strategic partnerships, and then another $500,000 for what efforts? I just didn't catch it.
For donation efforts. So
Donation
we
efforts, okay.
On a quarterly basis, will lead in our retail locations donation drives that are benefiting local organizations that are hitting one of our national strategic priorities.
Okay, so that's a total of $1 million across the country.
Correct.
Right, okay. There have been some concerns raised about the certification, the accuracy of the certification materials that were provided by Carole Leaf. And I think, one question that I have, putting that aside for a moment, because I think Commissioner Del Cid-Coso touched on it. Have any Carole Leaf employees been laid off from their employment as of today,
Are you speaking specifically with respect to Belmar, I presume, or?
anywhere? Across any of the facilities, the Carole Leaf facilities are currently operational?
In the state, in New
Yes,
Jersey?
yes.
In Belmar, every employee who was impacted or would be impacted by that reduction was offered another position if they were eligible for that. So all employees, less 5 who were not eligible because of their job performance and other issues, were given those offers and have taken them where they saw fit to do so.
So that means that there was a reduction of the workforce already?
Well, again, they were reassigned to other facilities. So we certainly are obviously have reduced Belmar, right? And I don't know that's necessarily a permanent thing. I mean, we'll see what happens as the market continues to mature in New Jersey and hopefully more dispensaries like today we saw get up and running, and that picks up demand. But in the meantime, yes, those employees have been who were eligible have been reassigned to other Carole Leaf facilities.
How much? When were those employees notified of a reduction?
Last month.
Last month, okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions from the board? No? All right, thank you very much.
Thank
to
you.
both gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, so as it pertains to Carole Leaf, New Jersey, is there a motion on their, the renewal of their adult use licenses?
Madam Chairwoman, I move that we renew adult use cannabis business licenses for the expanded alternative treatment center, Carole Leaf, New Jersey, Incorporated.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there a second on this motion? Last call for a second on the motion to approve Carole Leaf, to approve the renewal of the adult use cannabis business licenses for Carole Leaf. NJ? All right, there's no second motion. There's no second on that motion. Is there another motion with respect to Carole Leaf?
What do we, explain to me, point of information.
Mm-hmm, go ahead.
Yeah.
What's the question?
No, the question is, repeat that.
So there was no second,
Right.
right? So I'm asking for a motion again. Any other motion on the renewal of license materials for Carole Leaf?
Yeah, I second, move that we renew the adult cannabis business license for expanded alternative treatment center, Carole Leaf. Second.
Moved a second time by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there a second? I will second the motion. Is there any discussion on the motion to approve the renewal of the adult use cannabis business licenses for Carole Leaf NJ? Hearing no discussion, Ms. Joynham, can you please call the vote as it pertains to the motion to approve the renewal of adult use cannabis business licenses for Carole Leaf NJ?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Del Coso,
I'd like more information on on what I just asked the gentleman up front. So until then, I'm going to abstain.
Commissioner Nash,
No.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wayne.
My vote on this is a difficult vote to cast. I think there have been significant questions that have been raised by, questions and concerns that have been raised by my colleagues on the board. I believe Commissioner Nash had also referenced several statutes with respect to the labor provisions in the CREAM Act, right? 24:6I-36, 24:6I-7.2, both reference collective bargaining agreements. I am concerned about the layoff announcement that apparently was made a month ago or last month, before any information was provided to the commission about any changes that the entity, that Carole Leaf, was going to make. And I think those changes speak to Commissioner Del Coso's line of questioning, and I think it's important for the board to have, and the staff as well at large, to have proper insight and timely notice of major changes to a facility operations. Okay, so I was encouraged by the work and the report out from our Office of Diversity and Inclusion as pertains to Carole Leaf's efforts to promote social equity. I was really encouraged to hear what the Carole Leaf representatives had to say today, but it seems that there's still a lot of information missing. Information that can be provided, that should be provided, and that should be done in a manner that is forthcoming and transparent with the commission. So with that, my vote is to abstain.
The resolution fails.
No.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Green Thumb Industries. And who do we have from Green Thumb Industries? All right, please come forward. Good afternoon. Please state your name for the record. Clock is over here to my right, your left, and then we'll have some time for questions from the board.
Should I just begin?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioners and Chair Brown. I'm Rebecca Brown from GTI. I am VP of Government Affairs, and with me is my colleague Dom O'Brien, SVP of Revenue. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to comment upon our participation in the medical and adult use cannabis programs this past year. We are grateful to have had the opportunity to serve medical patients and adult use customers, and we have timely submitted our renewal application, including letters of local support from Patterson and Bloomfield, so that we may continue the privilege of doing so. We would like to briefly touch on our success in 3 areas. First, our continued commitment to meeting the needs of medical patients. Second, our continued commitment to social equity.
And third, we thank you for a successful partnership in a smooth rollout of adult use sales. GTI serves medical patients at 3 locations in Paterson, Paramus, and Bloomfield. When adult use was being legalized in New Jersey, patients voiced concern that the products that they relied on as medicine and that their experience as medical patients could be compromised. GTI kept patients top of mind while it planned for the launch of adult use sales in order to allay those fears. For example, GTI store managers closely manage the menu every day to make sure that products are always available for patients first, and they will pull products from the adult use menu to fulfill patient demand. Over the past year, GTI has almost doubled the selection of products available to patients, and we now offer over 1,000 different products at a variety of price points. GTI always is striving to optimize the patient experience. For example, we offer home delivery for medical patients, patient-only parking, dedicated points of sale for patients at all business hours, and dedicated patient-only hours on a daily basis. While our Paterson and Bloomfield locations serve adult use customers in addition to medical patients, our Paramus store remains medical only, providing a separate option for patients in the region. We wanted to highlight just one quick story about one of our regular Rise Paramus patients. This patient was addicted to pain medications after an accident and had been in and out of rehab several times trying to wean off of these medicines. She was referred to Rise Paramus. After consulting with one of our patient care specialists, this patient began a cannabis protocol, and after a few months was able to stop using all of the medications other than cannabis without returning to rehab. Ever since, she visits our location and has expressed her thankfulness about how we have helped her take back control of her life. Second, I want to touch on GTI's commitment to social equity. This began with our decision to locate GTI's facility, a cultivation facility, and first dispensary in Paterson. Paterson's the 3rd largest city in New Jersey and is racially and socioeconomically diverse and is defined as an economically disadvantaged area. GTI chose to bring its investment in facilities, jobs, and training opportunities to Paramus and is gratified to see that the tax return from these operations benefit this community. GTI employs more than 300 people across New Jersey, and I would like to touch on the diversity of our workforce. Over 65% of our employees in New Jersey identify as Black, African American, Hispanic, Latino, Asian, or 2 or more races. 41% identify as women or non-binary. 36% reside in a municipality qualified as an impact zone, and 29% live in a zip code qualified as an economically disadvantaged area. In terms of financial support and social equity contributions, GTI has provided over $150,000 in financial grants and donations to New Jersey organizations through 2 main channels, our Good Green Grant Program and direct donations supporting organizations in the areas of diversity, equity, inclusion, and restorative justice. Our Good Green Program is based on the sales of one of our flower brands. And proceeds from the sale of these products provide impact investments in the areas to organizations doing groundwork in underserved communities. Finally, we are appreciative of the way that we have been able to partner with the CRC on a smooth adult use rollout. We are grateful for the experience of the past year, and we thank you for your consideration of our license renewal.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board for the representatives from GTI?
Yes. Madam Chair?
Commissioner Nash.
Thank you.
Just
Hi.
turn your microphone off. Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. Hi there. So I understand that you do have negotiations going on with the union?
UFCW, yes.
Okay. All right. And you are aware of the 200-day?
We are, and we have met for collective bargaining on 7 separate occasions since July 2022. We feel that we are close to a resolution, and we've been working productively with the union to achieve a CBA.
Okay. Can you keep our office updated, give us a status report maybe every 2 weeks?
Yes, we can absolutely do that.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Commissioner Del Coso.
I'm sorry if you said it already or not, but the budget for your social equity initiatives for 2022?
Yes, it was $100,000 in direct grants, and we actually donated close to $150,000, and we can anticipate continuing those partnerships this year.
And those are New Jersey numbers?
Yes, that's New Jersey only.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Nope. Thank you very much. With respect to Green Thumb Industries, Inc., is there a motion on their submission for renewal of adult use cannabis business licenses?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to renew the adult use cannabis business license for expanded ATC, Green Thumb Industries.
Moved by Commissioner Nash. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there any discussion on this motion to approve the renewal of adult use cannabis business licenses for Green Thumb Industries? Hearing none, Ms. Joanna, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Del Coso,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Renew.
Yes.
The resolution passes.
Next, we have Terrace. We have representatives. Yes, we do. Wonderful. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. 4 minutes is on the clock over here to my right, to your left, and then we will have a few minutes for questions from the board. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Members of the Commission, thank you for having us here today. My name is Evan Kolakowski. I'm the Director of Regulatory and Quality Assurance for Terrace, New Jersey. I would like to use this time to certify that since initial licensure and into the transition of adult use consumer sales, Terrace NJ has shown and continue to show full compliance in all facilities and departments across New Jersey in accordance with its regulations. Terrace has never received any material violations or deficiencies from the CRC. Terrace prides itself in being transparent in its operations and to the Commission and cohesively partnering with its regulators. Terrace values the ability to establish procedures, policies, and practices that are safe, effective, and have an intended outcome that gives relief to patients suffering from debilitating medical conditions. Additionally, some examples of our community engagement and social equity efforts are, but not limited to, having a continued partnership with the Hoffman Centers, who review unlimited expungement requests during our partnership. We have finalized our membership with the Minority Cannabis Business Association, and we have also entered into social equity microbusiness supply agreements with new and emerging cannabis businesses. In accordance with our final agency decision, waivered approvals, and allowances set forth by the Commission, Terrace has sought to not only comply with regulations and requirements to work continuously and improve its processes. This includes, but is not limited to, consistently upgrading our sales technology and inventory techniques for better and faster customer experience, patient line control, and that create wait times not to exceed a few minutes. And we go above and beyond our testing of cannabis at multiple levels to ensure that the production life cycle is safe for its consumers. I would like to round out this presentation by turning over to my colleague, Chantel Elsner.
Good afternoon, CRC members, industry leaders, and community members. My name is Chantel Elsner, and I thank you for inviting me back to speak on behalf of Terrace's retail operations as we seek our approval for license renewal. I'm pleased to report that since our last meeting, we've successfully converted all 3 of our retail locations to adult use. Our proven model prioritizes patients, ensuring their ongoing access to products and pricing. Additionally, our team continues to support the community through education, volunteer events, sponsorships, and charitable donations. We continually seek out community events that align with our pillars: wellness, social equity, kindness, and community. On behalf of everyone at Terrace, I can honestly say that we've had an amazing year, and we've maintained our commitment to patient access, offered a reliable wholesale supply to the market, and a wide assortment of products for medical patients and consumers. We proudly feature Kind Tree, Gage, Valhalla, Wana, cookies, and other third-party products. We successfully converted to Metric ahead of expectations, launched our Apothecarium app and loyalty rewards programs, and further enhanced our employee training and development. We remain committed to the communities that we serve by donating, improving diversity and inclusion, and honoring our labor peace agreement. We're grateful for the continued support from the CRC, and we thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board for the representatives from Terrace? Commissioner Del Coso.
sound like a broken record, but your social equity budget for 2022, do you know what the number is for New Jersey?
Sure, it's $112,000, $112,750, sorry, $112,750. And that's for sponsorships, partnerships, and donations.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Nash, yes.
Thank you. Hi. Can you tell me where you are in the labor requirements?
Sure. So we have a serious relationship with Seed 420, and we have an active legal labor peace agreement at this time. We're currently working together on future advancements, and then we are in negotiations for renewing that agreement.
When is the last time they were out there?
This past Monday through Thursday, I believe.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? All right, hearing none, thank you very much.
Let's take some.
All right, with respect to Terrace, is there a motion?
Madam Chairwoman, I move renewal of adult use cannabis business licenses for expanded alternative treatment center, Terrace, New Jersey.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Del Cid Coso. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, Ms. Joanna, can you please call the vote with respect to the renewal of adult use cannabis business licenses for Terrace and India?
Commissioner Barker? Commissioner Del Cid Coso?
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado?
Yes.
Commissioner Nash?
No.
Chairwoman Wayne.
Yes.
The resolution passes.
All right. And last but certainly not least, we have Verano. Do we have representatives from Verano? Yes, thank you.
Last but not least, thank you. Can you guys hear me okay?
No, turn on the microphone if you don't mind. Thank you very much.
Now
Go
can you
right
hear me
ahead.
okay?
Yes, great. Thank you. Go right ahead.
Good afternoon, commissioners. I think I should call you Commissioner Brown at this point because everybody changed your title. Executive Director Brown. And everybody else at the CRC, thank you for having me. My name's James Leventis. I'm Executive Vice President with Verano, New Jersey. I'm very excited to be here. It seems like it's the year has whizzed by since we were last doing this and getting the program underway. So thank you again for the ability to present here today and for your thorough review of our certification materials for renewal. And I especially want to thank everybody here for the opportunity to participate in this program, and we're very much looking forward for year 2 and continuing to build upon the successes that we've seen in this last year. A quick high-level overview of Verano. I won't take up too much of your time, but we've been a medical operator in the state since 2020, February of 2020, and we moved very quickly to expand our operations to help support the launch of adult use. We completed the last phase of our cultivation and manufacturing build-out. I believe it was in January of 2020, or 2022, I apologize, just in advance of the adult use launch. That increased our production capabilities, I believe it was about 40%. And so we're now, if not the largest producer in the state, one of the largest producers, and we take that very seriously as we look forward to our role in this industry in the coming year and supporting some of the social equity groups that are coming on board as retailers. And we're certainly hitting the ground running with discussing with pretty much anybody that we can get in touch with to set up supply agreements to help support them, because I know that from experience that's one of the gating items when you're trying to get up and running is actually getting product on your shelf. So we're taking that very seriously. We maintain a large cultivation and manufacturing facility in Reddington and 3 very busy adult use and medical dispensaries across the state, and we're staffed up in New Jersey with over 400 full-time employees. They're all union employees. We're with UFCW, collective bargaining agreements across the board, Commissioner Nash, because I know you'll ask. And from a social equity perspective, we've partnered with a number of local community colleges. We've taken very seriously, and some of our focus, especially in the first few months here, the lead up to adult use, and then throughout the summer, we took very seriously our role in trying to, as we ramped up our staffing, to really focus on local community engagement. We've partnered with Raritan Valley Community College, Hudson Community College, Mercer Community College. I might be forgetting a few. But we really have focused on trying to get, as legally possible, a diverse workforce as we can, and certainly trying to source our workforce from the local communities. With that, I'll open it up to any questions you guys may have.
Thank you. Any questions from the board for Mr. Leventis? Commissioner Del
I'll ask you the
Secoso.
same question,
Sure.
the FY budget for 2022.
I'm trying to identify a perfect number. Terrace is making me look bad by getting it down to the penny, but it is in the six figures. I will definitely get that over to Wesley.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the board? All right, hearing none, Mr. Leventis, thank you very much.
Thank you guys very much for your time.
All right, as it pertains to Verano, is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to renew the adult use cannabis business license for expanded ATC, Verano, New Jersey.
Moved by Commissioner Nash. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, Ms. Wenham, can you please call the vote as it pertains to the renewal of the adult use cannabis business license for Verano and J?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Del Secoso,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
A big collective bargaining agreement, yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Waynu.
Yes.
The resolution passes. Next, we have the open public comment period.
There has been a request for a brief break. So before we start public comments, I'll give a 5-minute break? 5-minute break, all right? So we'll resume it within 5 minutes. Time is now 4:45. We'll break for a recess. Thanks. All right, resuming the public meeting. Time is now 4:30 and we'll resume. I think we were at public comment. Great. As always, members of the public can submit written comments to the board both during and after this meeting via our website, nj.gov/cannabis/meetings. The deadline for submitting written comments for today's board meeting is 5 o'clock tomorrow, Friday. That is not March 3rd. Friday, April 14th. Written comments will be shared with the commission members and made public. So speakers during this afternoon's public comment period will be limited to 3 minutes. Please be mindful of the time limit and concise during your comments. Ms. Joanna will call out the names of our registered speakers, I believe 3 at a time. When you hear your name, just prepare to come forward. Microphone is there. Press the button on the microphone so that you see the green light, and that will tell you that you are live and ready to go. So with that, Ms. Joanna, can you please call on our first speakers?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. As a reminder, public speakers during this afternoon's public comment period will be limited to 3 minutes. Please be respectful and concise during your comments. Carmen Rivera, Cheryl McDaniel, Shirali Patel,
Good afternoon and happy birthday to the CRC. Thank you for doing the best that you guys can and trying to get to this industry to where it needs to be, because I know it's a lot of work. I flew back last night from Miami just to be able to speak here. I was at the Benzinga Cannabis Capital Conference, and there was a ton of investors and money, for lack of a better word, there. And the consensus to my disappointment was that New Jersey is not an investable market. My opinion is that New Jersey is poised to be one of the premier markets. We have low taxes, we have high consumer demand, we have vertical integration, we have a great CRC, but an oversaturated market will lead to price compression, and businesses will fail if we don't course correct. So specifically, at a prior meeting, the CRC communicated that the cap was lifted for the 37 cultivation licenses. I know that it was set by legislation, it was meant to sunset. However, the messaging that came along with that was that the national average is about 800 facilities, and then publications in the media that people in the industry follow, like MJ Biz, quoted New Jersey is going to be an unlimited licensed state, there's not going to be a cap. That literally caused people to stop funding and investing in New Jersey applicants. And so your word is everything. You guys are like, it's the Bible, right? And so when I tell people, hey, the intent of the CRC is not to be oversaturated, it's to make the process easier, it's to follow the guidelines, and they have every intention to assess market demands and put back a cap when they feel like it. So if you guys respectfully request, if you can put out messaging to clarify that that is not what you meant, that you don't entail New Jersey to be an unlimited licensed state, and that you will assess market demands, because it's hurting the smaller players. And that's just my concern, because we don't want New Jersey to look like other states where there's too much biomass, and then that impacts the whole market, because then we will have a real diversion issue. And then with municipalities, really quickly, I know you guys can't tell them exactly what to do, but if they're going to opt in, they should be required to adhere to some sort of framework. I mean, when it comes to time frame review, we already know that a lot of the extension requests are coming because municipalities are not approving in time. So whether it's 60 to 90 days of review period, something so that people aren't waiting over 8 months just for local approval, because they're bleeding out, right, as they're holding real estate. And then the NJEDA state level grant, I love it that people will have access to a grant, but I don't know if people are aware they can't deduct that at the federal level. So again, messaging so that people are aware of what they are applying for and what these grants can be used for, and how it won't be deductible at the federal level, because that does impact them. And I implore you to please keep the meeting next month. I know you guys are doing amazing at reviewing them, but there are social equity applicants who are hoping to get approved with their conversions, and money lies on that. So I know my time is out, but thank you.
Daniel Alexander Levine, David Fetter,
Just one at a time.
So we had talked to Justin. I have two other representatives from Seed 420 who were put in slips, but we're going to come up at the same time. Do you mind if Jeff Tabakin and Troy Anderson come up with me? Troy is our secretary treasurer, and Jeff was our shop steward at the Ascend Montclair location.
That's fine. Just state your names clearly for the record. Thanks.
I'm Connor Shaw. I'm the business agent for Seed 420, as well as the political director for the International Union of Journeymen and Allied Trades.
Troy Anderson, Secretary Treasurer of Seed.
Jeffrey DeBankin, the shop steward from Ascend Montclair.
So we work regularly with Chief of Staff Rodriguez and Labor Director Wallace, who asked us to come and introduce ourselves because I haven't had a chance to come and meet the commissioners and introduce our organization. So Seed 420 is a new national labor organization focused on cannabis workers. As you know, it's a new industry. But the International Union of Journeymen and Allied Trades, who's our parent organization, is the oldest labor union in the country, going back to 1874 on its same charter, on its original charter. We have about 15,000 members in the state of New Jersey through the International, including all the blue and white collar public sector workers in Bergen County, many of the blue and white collar public sector workers in Middlesex County, all the paratransit drivers subcontracted through New Jersey Transit, and we use the strength of our international to, represent. As you all know, this industry is an industry that's continuing to grow, and if the workers are not represented, they will not grow with the industry, and it's our goal to bring our best in the nation contracts and stuff like transportation and auto technicians to use that same level of professional know-how to get the best contracts in this industry as well. We currently have a contract at Ascend Montclair that just as of Monday, I'm happy to announce, got a $1.20 raise per hour, as well as offering a silver medical plan to all employees, which is unique that it includes first dollar coverage for all members that choose to participate. And I don't know how familiar you guys are with health insurance, but getting first dollar coverage anywhere, much less in an industry with these wage rates, is quite rare. So again, we, at the suggestion of Labor Director Wallace, we wanted to come and introduce ourselves. Troy is also our international transportation director, and he has over 4 decades of experience. We also have another international business agent, Guy James, who has 4 decades of labor representative experience as well. So we, again, the International Union of Journeymen and Allied Trades is celebrating its 150th anniversary this summer. So we are proud to, take this long, proud history in labor and bring it to this new industry and help make sure that members who are represented are getting solid contracts. So I just wanted to come and introduce ourselves and answer if folks had any questions. Thank you.
Greetings, New Jersey Cannabis Commission. Thank you for having me. Hare Krishna. My name is Daniel Alexander Levine. I'm born and raised in New Jersey. I'm 38 years old. I've been a legacy patient and provider for about 21 years. I first learned about medical cannabis in New Jersey when I was in Rutgers in 2006, when I learned about it in a constitutional law class and found out that California had medical cannabis and it was legal for patients to grow cannabis and have cannabis. And I said, that's not equal protection. How could one state have it when the rest of the states have nothing? Well, lo and behold, a few years later, after graduation, I got arrested for the first time in West Long Branch and decided I'm going to California. I'm going to become a legal patient and legal in this industry, growing for patients, opening a patient cooperative, which I did. I got burnt out of that 8-year experience in California in 2018 in the Paradise Fire, and here I am trying to hopefully one day have a legal, open to the public cannabis business in the organic outdoor growing and dispensing category. I would like to thank Wesley McWhite for his work with diversity inclusion. I first met him at a meeting of the New Jersey Commission on American Indian Affairs when he came to brief the commission on the opportunities in the industry. And since then, I've become a member of the Native American Working Group here in New Jersey with Wesley through with the idea of wanting more inclusion for Native Americans. I myself am a blood descendant citizen of Potawatomi, and social equity is a thing we hear a lot about, and I am proud that this commission has been established. I'm proud of legalization, but social equity will not be achieved here alone. In my opinion, the biggest thing New Jersey has ever done for social equity is the decriminalization of 6 ounces, which was championed by Senator Ruiz for the express purpose that large-scale users and small-scale dealers would not be prosecuted while multi-million-dollar corporations are given medical licenses to distribute and then given recreational licenses to distribute before small street corner dealers who are just supplying this medicine to their family and their friends, when for decades it was an act that was the devil itself. So I applaud you, Chairman Barker, You're the reason why I'm here today speaking, because you really inspired me last month when you spoke. And every time you speak up for social justice, despite the inimical and haughty comments of Chairman Delgado to try to belittle the sentiments, you still stand up and you still vote no and put the brakes on giving big corporations the sanctioned right to make money off of cannabis, while people like me and many others have zero right and zero protection. And it's only that the federal government still considers this a completely useless, evil devil's weed that this whole corporate structure and commission can exist as a new cartel to decide winners and losers, while people who want to sell more than 6 ounces. How do we go from 6 ounces to the micro dispensary threshold of 1,000 pounds? That's not inclusion. We need more small level inclusion. Thank you very much. And again, I'm proud of what's going on here, but sometimes these things need to be said, because social equity, we need home grow too. Please, last thing I'll say is, I know you don't make the rules, but I personally will not apply for a license until home grow is legalized in the state of New Jersey. I will not co-opt my elders who can't afford to go to the dispensary, okay? $60 Ace are not like running to another CVS where you can get a $5 bottle or item. You know, it's just so tone deaf. You seem to be so angry and impatient, Chairman Delgado, or excuse me. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. And I'm sorry, I've been arrested several times in 2 states for cannabis, and so I get emotional, and I get even more emotional because there's really not enough opportunity for us people yet. Thank you very much. God bless.
David Fetter. Domingo Rivera. Edward Grimes.
Good afternoon, Commission. Whoops. Are we on? One more time. Good afternoon, Commission. I'm Edward Lefty Grimes. I'm with SativaCross.org. We're a 501c3 here in New Jersey fighting for cannabis patients' rights and for the rights of the disabled. The other day I was in Dover at a council meeting, and there was a man in a wheelchair. And I waited for him to speak because I was going to talk about why their meeting had no remote access and why people in wheelchairs need to force themselves out into these meetings. And the man had a seizure during his testimony. And to my point, and I didn't get to speak at that meeting, so I get to speak here about it. I asked for disabled access for 2 meetings in a row. The last 2 meetings, I filled out the form that you fill out for deaf people would have to fill out, for blind people would have to fill out. And I filled it out because I'm asking for someone to hit the button for the Zoom meeting. Somebody hit the button. Because you do it for some meetings and you don't do it for others. So I know you can do it, and it would be very helpful to patients if you could do that. There was a man in a wheelchair here, I don't know if he's still here, but you know, there's a lot of us out here and we're suffering, and to put us through that, it's a lot. It's a lot for patients to go through. Talking about social justice in Sayreville, all the black and brown people arrested for cannabis are listed as white. And we talked about that, and I brought it up to them, and they said that the county does it, and they said, no, the state does it. The state does that. Now, I don't know what the truth is now, but they told me that the state does that. The buck stops with Chief Sombrowski at that point, And what's upsetting to me is that with all the racial stuff over his head, that he got units strung for his council seat. Surprising to me. When you talk about social justice, we talk about Anthony Diaz, a black man in chains for growing cannabis for cancer. He was growing 50 plants in his backyard. Where's his social justice? And this commission does have the power to speak to lobby to the executive branch, the judicial branch, the legislative branch. So we need your help. We need help lobbying for home grow, because you guys can help us get home grow. We're out at the State House every month. We're going to be out there. We're out lobbying. We're out there on 420. We're out there on 710. We'd like to know why Assemblyman Conaway is waiting for the CRC for an answer for the legislator. That's just what I'm hearing, that they're waiting for the CRC to make a decision about home grow. So ask yourself this question: how many years should a cancer patient go to jail for growing cannabis? How many years? Right now it's 5. Can we get that down to 2? Can we get it down to 0? But these negotiations have to start somewhere, and informational hearings need to start on home grow. We don't have that. We need informational hearings. So I'd like to invite you guys out on 420 to the State House, and 710, which is National Cannabis Patient Awareness Day, where we're going to have all states taking part to talk about each state's issue. Every state has their own problems, and we want every state to take part in a Zoom call on 710, National Cannabis Patients Awareness Day. So, thank you.
Hello, my name is Domingo Rivera. I just got a water conversion to annual. I wanted to say first, thank you for all the support you guys do for social equity and minority-owned businesses. I'm very excited to be one of the first to open up in Camden City, and we're looking forward to be working with the commission to get everything rolling. So thank you for everything you guys do. I'm really excited. I'm excited for our city, and we're going to give back to our city and do good, and hopefully we can grow from being a micro to an annual. I'm very, very excited because it's a big deal for us. So thank you for everything, and thank you for seeing us, because we're the little guys in the whole picture. Thank you again.
Edwin Robles, Hugh Giordano.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Is this on? Hello? Okay, much better. Hello, everyone, and thank you for giving me the time to speak here today. I'm speaking on behalf of Empire Dispensary, and we are here today to be able to hope to obtain a license for Empire Dispensary. It has been a long and expensive journey for us, and it has not been easy. We've had to overcome many challenges and obstacles, but through hard work and dedication, we are here today with hopes of achieving an opportunity to earn an annual license from the state. We have managed to submit all required documents to the state, and we believe we have met the state's guidelines. We also have been granted a certification for minority and women business enterprise. I am also an Army veteran with partial disability, and I have served my country honorably. We have also managed to secure a location that meets state and local guidelines, and it's very expensive for us to keep this lease without a license. We have done everything the state has asked of us, and at this point, we aren't sure what else we could possibly do to get an answer. Since last month's meeting, I have not been able to stop thinking about what Mr. Barker said on how we need to do better to include people of color, and we can do better. By granting Empire Dispensary an annual license, you would be allowing us to do better, not only for ourselves, but for our local community. Our goal at Empire is to be the golden standard on how to run and operate a cannabis dispensary. We look forward to tackling the negative stigma that surrounds the cannabis industry and help educate the public on the health benefits that cannabis has to offer. With your help, we can make it possible. Thank you so much for your time and consideration, and I hope You all have a blessed day. Thank you.
Thank you. So could you just say your name one more time for the
Edwin Robles.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello, everybody. Hugh Giordano of the UFCW. Again, the UFCW is a official bona fide labor union. We hit all 5 marks within the bill. And we are also the official labor union under the guise of the AFL-CIO, having 1.4 million members on a national level in the US and Canada, with allies in Europe and South America. It's been a long day. And I just want to say, first off, thank you so much. Thank you so much for caring about workers. Thank you so much for speaking up when others won't speak up for them. Thank you so much for understanding that working class people fit the era of social equity and economic justice. There are more people of color, immigrants, women, and veterans in the workforce than there will ever be in ownership. And that's the reality of it. And I'm really happy that the CRC puts their foot down and also speaks up for people that can't speak up for themselves at times. In saying that, I want to say a couple things in regards to some of the owners we have. It's not all bad. I'm really happy that it was an enthusiastic yes for holistic solutions. You know, I'm really happy about that you notice that a person of color, a woman, is doing the right thing, unlike some others. I also want to say thank you for supporting candidates such as Alsbert, who won a license today. I think it's wonderful that you're doing that and you're looking to that. There are some problems, though, still. There are problems. You know, I have a tan. It's not because I was at the beach. It's because I was outside hand-billing facilities in Boonton. It's because I was in Maplewood. It's because I was in Lodi. It's because I was in Phillipsburg with my colleagues, making sure that workers know that you have the right to form and join a union. Through those experiences, I was able to speak to workers, and I have signed documents saying that managers told them they are verbally not allowed to speak about the union. That's a problem. You know, whether you have an LPA or not, the federal law protects you to form and join a union. And when we hear things like that, it's upsetting. You know, we've had other members tell us that they have been laid off or fired because they were heading up union activity. And we are currently have filed labor charges against those employers for not doing the right thing. We want to thank the CRC for putting the hammer down, for making sure that these employers understand that workers' rights and social equity are the same conversation. And it is the agenda of the UFCW and the AFL-CIO to organize every facility in New Jersey and around the nation. And I will not stop until my last heartbeat, and that is a guarantee. Thank you.
Jack Howard. James Charis. Jeff Tabinkin. Jessica Marie Villers.
Hello, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here today, and thank you also for all the incredible work you're doing setting up the industry here in the state. I'm Jessie Marie Villers, owner and founder of Baked by the River Dispensary, Class 5 Conditional Licensee. I submitted my conversion application on December 7th, over 120 days ago. Due to an error in your online system, my application was somehow lost and not located until March 9th, which I learned after 3 months of trying to get in contact with you myself, and then requesting my lawyer reach out on my behalf after the licensing board finally responded on March 8th, stating that there was no record of my application. When I sign into your portal, I can still see my application as submitted as of December 7th, but according to my last correspondence with the licensing board, you're now considering my license to be submitted on March 9th, effectively delaying my business review by more than 3 months. Baked by the River is a locally owned microbusiness. We're a woman-owned business that I maintain majority ownership of. I've been directly impacted by cannabis prohibition, and my business partner went to jail because of cannabis prohibition. Our business also applied through the conditional licensing process. Based on the guidance from the NJCRC website, it was my understanding that my business would be prioritized before the larger corporations applying for standard annual licenses. And yet, that is not the case, not only for my business, but for so many other conditional licensees and locally owned microbusinesses. Take my small city of Lambertville, for example, a city where we have an ordinance that states a preference for locally owned microbusinesses. And yet, in spite of that local preference and in contradiction to the NJCRC's stated prioritization, Lambertville now has 2 corporate multi-state operators approved for their annual standard license before my locally owned microbusiness. The state is already doing so much to limit and restrict microbusinesses to the point that it will be hard for us to even function with the number of employees we're allowed. It's disappointing that on top of that, we're not receiving effective prioritization and effectively missing out on the benefits for first-to-market advantage. It's almost like microbusinesses are being set up to fail, which is unfortunate because locally owned, legacy-operated small businesses have so much to offer. My microbusiness, Baked by the River, has been going above and beyond advocating for cannabis, educating, and working directly with our community as we're waiting to hear back on licensing. We've organized and started funding for a pilot shuttle program between Trenton and Lambertville to make it possible for cannabis businesses to hire 25% of their workforce from the nearest impact zone. We've hosted educational courses, social equity mixers, formed cannabis equity employment, and are working to directly connect people who have been directly harmed by the war on drugs to job opportunities in this industry. Locally owned, legacy-operated small businesses can help shape this industry into one that is reflective of and responsive to our communities. We want to live up to the standards for equity, diversity, and community impact that have been set forth by the NJCRC, and all I'm asking is that you give us a fighting chance. So today I have 2 requests. First, I need to request that my conversion application be considered based on the date that it was submitted, back in December, on December 7th. And secondly, we did our fingerprinting, we did our background checks yesterday, and I appreciate that the Commission has started to move forward on our application review. We request that review be expedited, considering it was delayed by 3 months due to no part on our end. And we also would like a direct contact, just so we don't have to go months without hearing back from you again. And that's it. Thank you again for all your work. Appreciate your time.
Kelly Gatto.
Hello. My name is Kelly Gatto, and I'm the president of Roots. We are one of the 4 vertically integrated awardees from the 2019 RFA process. As many may know, the 2019 process took a very long time. This upcoming August will be 4 years since we submitted our application, and then we waited 2 years until we were awarded in October of 21. And now, to date, it's been 18 months since we've been awarded. Through all of this, though, there's been countless emails and phone calls with the executive director, council, and of course, all the investigators. So after all of this time, I just wanted to come finally and formally introduce myself and put a face to the name. From my understanding, we are being issued our permits to begin operations for our cultivation facility and our dispensary any day. So we are very excited about that, as there's been a lot of sleepless nights for the past few years. So this is a huge weight off of our shoulders to be able to begin our operations. And just to note, Roots is not a multi-state operator. We are a South Jersey-based WBE company. I was born and raised right in Atlantic County. I was a registered nurse in Atlantic City and raised my daughter right in Mays Landing. So I'm very excited to be opening a dispensary in my home county, right in Egg Harbor Township. So it's been a very long journey, and I just wanted to thank everyone here at the CRC, all of the commissioners, Executive Director Brown, Paul Urbish, all of the investigators, and our site investigator, Fred Lobleen. He's got patience of a saint. He's been really great. But I know there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and I thank everyone for all of their hard work. And to all the applicants going through this process right now, just hang in there. So again, thank you, and Roots is ready to begin growing and dispensing to the medical patients and eventually the adult use customers here in New Jersey. So thank you.
Luis Ramos. Michael.
It's okay. We're on last name.
First and foremost, happy birthday, CRC. That's first and foremost. Michael Bayous, Green Eye Cannabis. I want to give a shout out.
Sorry. Could you spell your name, your last name for us?
Yes, Bravo Alpha Juliet Uniform Zulu. Bayous. First and foremost, big shout out to Director McWhite. I am a disabled veteran, and he has been a lifesaver. I think we all been through this phase where we don't know what's going on, and he really helped me out. And I also want to thank a few commissioners out here that I met through the veterans panels or et cetera. You guys really did help out, so thank you very much for standing up for the little guys. I'd like to introduce myself. Michael Bayous, a son, a brother, a partner, disabled veteran, and the CEO of Green Eye Cannabis. My team is also here in the back. There are no lawyers here. I'm speaking from the heart. We are truly a mom and pop business, disabled veteran owned and located in Impact Zone. And I really want to thank the CRC today for giving us the privilege to serve my community. And I really want to mention that the CRC is looking for equity and diversity. We are the definition of the diversity. I and my entire team, we were born in Eastern Europe. We lived under communism. We didn't have freedom of choice, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly. We couldn't strive for our dreams, our opportunities. We came to the United States with nothing but our suitcases and the clothes on our back. We survived month to month, day to day. And what I want to highlight is that we did everything here, striving legally, because if we did something illegally, we would have been deported. I wanted to give back and serve my country. So I represented New Jersey and became the first Slovak-born cadet and graduate of the United States Military Academy at West Point, and I served in the United States military because I really want to serve my country and be thankful for the opportunities that I was given. Today was mentioned the importance of self-funding. If you follow the money, follow the money. It's right here and my team in the back. We're a small mom and pop store. That's us, just us. We continue to sacrifice for our American dream, and we hope that we'll be successful. Now I would like to ask the CRC, please continue to look out for the little guys, the mom and pop. One thing that I see in New Jersey right now is there's a lot of illegal dispensaries. You go down the street, I don't know what they're called, but you go there and they have these products that you don't know what kind of testing they have. It's giving cannabis, New Jersey legal cannabis, a bad name and potentially harming, if you don't know what's ingesting, it's potentially harming New Jerseyans. So please, look out for us because these illegal stores are really affecting not only us, but future applicants as well. Thank you.
Mike Thompson. Nicole Salter. Noah Easley. Osbert Orduna. Paul Josephson.
For the gram. Can you hear me? For the gram, my Instagram. Good afternoon. My name is Osbert Orduña. I am the grandson of sharecroppers. I am the CEO of the Cannabis Place and a board member of both the National Hispanic Cannabis Council and the Service Disabled Veterans and Cannabis Association. I'd also like to recognize my co-board member, Leo Bridgewater, in the room as well. Today I'm here and I'm grateful to have seen our name, the Cannabis Place 420 Corp., on the list for conversion. I am appreciative, but there is work that still needs to be done. The work of the advocates and legislators that collaborated to pass the CREAM Act was incredible. But let me share some information about our process at the Cannabis Place. We, as a small, friends and family-funded, minority and service-disabled veteran-owned business, we submitted our application on March 15th, 2022. 13 months ago. And during that time, we have dealt with hurdles and challenges from some of the things you would expect, like paying rent, insurance, and utilities for 13 months. But in our case, it went beyond that. Additional things at the local municipal level, like arbitrary hurdles from the Jersey City Planning Department, who even after we received municipal approval, came up with a new step, the so-called pulling of permits step. These types of bureaucratic violence actually hurt social equity applicants the most. Why, you ask? Because we're small businesses, and as small businesses, I'm here to ask you, the CRC, to help all of us that are out there, to help stop the arbitrary hurdles that work against the legislative intent of the CREAM Act and what you folks have done here at the CRC. We are your justice-involved, minority, women, and service-disabled veteran-owned businesses, and we need your help from the CRC to mitigate the bureaucratic violence that we are facing. Any measure that the CRC can take to streamline the application, review, approval, and post-approval process is needed and appreciated. The ability for municipalities to decide who gets certified at their level is their right. However, the arbitrary and capricious measures that some municipalities are taking to stop that process is not. And you guys, please need to do more to help all of us that are out there in the community. Today, we're making history as the first dispensary to launch as a unionized shop. We are committed to launching and opening our doors as a member of the UFCW. As perhaps the first minority and service-disabled veteran-owned business to complete the conversion to annual process, I would like to thank the commissioners and the staff of the CRC, both for your leadership and the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Department under the leadership of Director White for their efforts and outreach to the community. To all of the brothers and sisters in the process that are going through this licensing adventure, stay strong. Don't give up. If I, as a first-generation kid from the projects, can get here to this table and have my name read off today, you can do it as well. Thank you for your time.
Precious Osagi Urisi. R. Todd Edwards.
Good afternoon. My name is Precious Osai Gararesa, and I am the co-founder and chief operating officer at Roll Up Life, Inc. I'm here to speak today about the municipal approval issues happening throughout the state as we're watching in real time cannabis being politicized. This has the potential to stifle all the hard work put together to ensure social equity and impact zones are empowered by this new industry. Roll Up Life has been leading the charge to bring cannabis to the state of New Jersey and our community, the city of East Orange, since 2019. We commented on several iterations of the East Orange Cannabis Ordinance. We advocated, informed, and educated our mayor, city council, and residents. We held virtual and in-person networking events. We held a nationally renowned cannabis expungement event. To date, we spent close to $100,000 in community programming in and around East Orange. Not because licensing was around the corner, but because we wanted to normalize the good that can come from this plant. And when we did apply, we had the highest scored application. We were denied a Class 5 retailer with the ability to deliver this past Monday. Sadly, members of our city council did not support a future for us because theirs was on the line. There are many barriers to entry for people of color to participate in this industry. It's not easy doing it, but we did it. We pitched around the country and raised $2.5 million for first-time young black cannabis entrepreneurs. We secured an 18,000 square foot facility with on-site parking with plans to take an abandoned property and bring it back online. We displayed business experience. Not only are we students of cannabis, we are teachers. I'm currently working with the state of Connecticut as a head coach on cannabis licensing. My business partner, Tyann Bryant, has been selected to work on the rollout of the largest cannabis market in the world, New York City. And community, anyone who knows us know that we led with our heart. We didn't take into account that politics, the fact that larger political players can influence decisions on local licensing would be the cause of our rejection after all of our hard work. We could have never conceived the fact that merit of our application would be tossed out in favor of politics as usual. As I said publicly several times now since the East Orange decision on Monday, our city council chose politics over merit, they chose politics over hope, and politics over ethics. I'm here not to only bring light to the issue that we experience, but what we know that other hopeful small businesses are experiencing as well. While we understand this is a legislative fix, I implore our CRC to speak out on this. Go to these council meetings, speak with these local officials, because we are being gutted on the municipal level. And yes, we are business owners, but this is also our lives. Thank you.
R. Todd Edwards. Shane Waters. Steve Cassidy.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for your time today. My name's Steve Cassidy. I'm the owner and founder of Daylight Cannabis, LLC. We are a conditionally licensed retail business in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. It's in Burlington County, if you're unfamiliar. We're also a social equity micro business, and we're in the process of converting that license to an operating annual license right now. I had every intention and had hoped that I would be here today thanking you for my license. I was ready to tell you that our site is fully built out. We're ready for your inspection, and we're ready to open our doors and hire our employees. Instead, my message is different. I'm here asking why I'm not licensed yet. We're supposed to be one of your highest priority applicants, yet today marks 114 days from when I submitted my conversion application. Our team finished our investigation interviews on February 27th, and we haven't heard a thing since. Why are applicants not kept informed of the status of our license and our application? Today, the CRC approved a conversion application that was submitted in December like mine. Congratulations to them. I'm very happy for them. I'm also hearing that another one that submitted in December and that the CRC lost their license, their application. So I hope you understand why I'm here, concerned about my application and its status. I had to take a half day from my full-time job to come here and ask what's going on. With no May meeting on the schedule, our next opportunity is June 1st. That brings us to 163 days waiting from when I submitted my conversion application. We'll be going into June's meeting having spent nearly half a year waiting, my family and I losing thousands of dollars every additional month we're not licensed. That's all I have to say. Thanks for your time, and I look forward to receiving a license at the next opportunity.
Tahir Johnson. Troy Anderson. Virginia Papa Horning.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Virginia Papa Horning, representing Jersey Shore Ventures Group. That's a mom and son operation, small business. We all like to tell you that we appreciate the opportunity to speak openly and honestly about our experience as a conditional license holder. Jersey Shore Ventures shares CRC's excitement and pride in the opportunity that the state has made available to all of us with the legalization of cannabis. We've all made great progress, state and applicants, and starting with the legalization. Right after that, we started on March 2021 studying the laws and preparing to submit for our conditional cultivation license. On December 15th, 2021, we submitted our application for this license. On May 25th, we were ecstatic when we were granted our conditional license. On October 1st, we began our active lease, and that's in 2022, to demonstrate site control. On November 28th, we received our municipal approval. Again, we were so excited. On November 30th, we submitted our conversion application to the CRC for our annual license. In February 2023, as we approached the close of the 90-day app review period, we made efforts to communicate with the CRC. I personally made 2 calls with detailed messages left. I requested a meeting on the CRC website, and I emailed the CRC directly, all without a reply. This is where the lack of feedback and transparency in the conversion process has created confusion. Not knowing exactly where we are in the approval process is making strategy and fundraising extremely difficult. It's hard to know when to appropriately dispense funds without any feedback nor timeline. Not having communication with the governing body has made investors speculative and add difficulty to raising much-needed funds as we continue to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on application fees, rent, lawyers, consultants, etc., just to get to the starting line. We understand that CRC is under great pressure, much like the pressure we felt to comply with the state rules, regulations, and deadlines that we have met. We just ask for more communication and feedback during the conversion process. We would be more than willing to do whatever we can on our end to assist, realizing that now is the time for all of us to do our best. Now is the time for us to take whatever action is necessary to truly move forward. And now is the time to help our state and the small, minority, and diversely owned businesses shine. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I will repeat the names of the people that I called earlier that did not come to speak. Maybe they were out the room. Carmen Rivera. Cheryl McDaniel. Jack Howard. James Charisse. Jeff Tebenkin. Louis Ramos. Mike Thompson. Nicole Salter. Noah Easley. Paul Josephson. R. Todd Edwards. Shane Waters. Tahir Johnson. And Troy Andersop.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Tahir Johnson. I wasn't going to take my spot, but everybody kept looking at me. First, I'll just say I know that there's so many people watching here today and that are at home that have the same dream that I had to have a cannabis business here in New Jersey. It's a beautiful thing to say that out loud. And I know that you all are doing such a hard job, to make this a reality. I've sat here and I've listened, and I'll just say that I appreciate the intentionality that y'all are showing to really try to do your best to make sure that minority-owned, women-owned, veteran-owned businesses, all these people who have dreams of being a part of this industry are really making it come true. And I really believe that what you all are doing here is a great example for everybody else in the country. Is it perfect? No. But I just want to say I think you're doing a darn good job. And for me to be in my hometown, to have my mom and dad sitting behind me today and see me being awarded this license is probably the greatest moment ever. Extending hope and love to so many people. I know everybody didn't get this type of good decision today, but I'll just say keep at it. You could do it. For me personally, it's been a 5-year journey, and the first time I tried, I didn't get it. So I'm happy to be sitting here today. Hey, just keep working, keep fighting, and I know that I'm always here to support everybody else that wants to do the same thing. And thank you. Trent makes the world takes. That's it.
Madam Chairwoman, this will conclude the registered speakers we have for today's public meeting.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone who provided their thoughts to the commission this afternoon. As a reminder, you can always submit written comments to the commission by going to our website, nj.gov/cannabis/meetings. The deadline for submitting comments for today's board meeting is tomorrow, 5 o'clock. That's Friday, April 14th. This concludes the business that is before us today. Is there any other new business that the commission needs to take up? Vice Chair Delgado.
Yes, Madam Chairwoman, after hearing, and you know my position, after hearing these small businesses talk about their carrying charges and the amount of money they're putting out month after month waiting, I think that the commission can ill afford to take the month of May off. So I move that we have a meeting in the month of May, suggested May 18th, push it back a couple of weeks, so that we can issue these licenses to these small applicants that have been waiting for us to have them issued. So that's my motion. And Madam Chairwoman, to make it simple, it doesn't have to be a full public hearing like this. It could be strictly for the licenses, and it could be on Zoom. That way we don't take up all the resources of the commission. We could accomplish the same thing on Zoom virtually.
So I just want to make sure that for documentation purposes, we understand the motion clearly. The motion is to have a meeting in May. I believe you said suggested May 18th. Is that right?
Yes, May 18th.
All right. Is there a second on this motion to have a meeting in May, suggestion for May 18th?
Madam Chair, I second that.
Seconded by
Thank you, Commissioner Barker.
Or moved by Vice Chair Delgado, seconded by Commissioner Barker. Is there any discussion on this motion to have a meeting in May with the specific suggestion for May 18?
Well, is that can we caveat that to make it at a later date in May that works for both the CRC staff and the small businesses? I definitely understand Commissioner Delgado's point. I agree with it in that small businesses have so much that they're dealing with that to delay them is a critical move. And so if we can make ourselves available, I would hope that we will put our best effort forward to do that. So May 18th may be too soon. I don't know if later dates in May afford us more time to prepare. So I would just ask for a caveat that it's not specifically May 18th, but at a later date in May.
The reason I picked May 18th, and I said I recommended May 18th, I've been giving it thought prior to the meeting here, is that the following week is Labor Day weekend.
Memorial Day.
Excuse me, Memorial Day weekend. So Labor Day is in September, right?
First you want to promote people, now you want to skip 4 months of the year.
I'm the oldest person on this commission. I'm entitled to memory lapses. Yeah, the following week is Memorial Day weekend, and the staff, we have to be cognizant of staff schedules and vacation time. So, I wanted to take that into consideration, and May 18th seemed to be a reasonable compromise.
Any other discussion on this motion? I myself do not agree. It is not that I do not believe that we should be advancing applications. It's that having seen all the work and all the resources that it takes to get applications across the finish line, I firmly believe that having a board meeting in May will actually hinder our ability to get more applications approved, because it takes takes more than a dozen staff members. We are a staff of just 60 or so. It takes more than a dozen staff members just to run a single board meeting. We've got many of our staff here today who are also involved in the application review process. So every minute, every hour that is spent here today is a minute, is an hour that is not spent reviewing and scoring applications, doing quality control on the applications that are provided. And we have a number of staff who aren't here in this room with us, but who are critical for the implementation of application review and scoring. And I think it is actually counterproductive to dedicate resources to conduct a board meeting with time away from doing the work that you're seeking to do, right? And so there's a ton of work that the CRC has to get finished, right? Applications is only a part of the long list of things that we have to get done. We have to compile responses to and a finalized rule on consumption areas. We have to draft proposed rules for our medical updates because our medicinal cannabis regulations are in severe need of updates. We have annual reports that we need to get done. We've got actual work that needs to be done, and we can't have only but so much time in the day. And so I believe that just looking in this room at how much staff we have to use to carry out this board meeting, I think it is actually counterproductive to take that time away from application review time, because rather than coming to meet in May just to have some applications up for consideration, I suspect, I can't know for sure, I don't have a crystal ball, but I suspect that what we would actually end up having is very few applications. What, 2, 3 maybe? And I don't think that's what you're looking for. I really don't think that's what you're looking for. And so I believe that having the time for staff and the board to look at applications, review them, digest them, make sure that it is proper and ready to go, so that way we can come to the next meeting in June locked and loaded with a good, robust set of applications that we know have passed quality control, that we know and that have been double-checked and triple-checked, and so that we can implement processes on our end to make sure that people who are submitting their applications are getting the reviews that they need. And I think I think having an additional meeting in May is actually counterproductive and does not get to the goals that you're wanting to see.
Do I have the floor?
By all means.
First of all, it's not an additional meeting in May. We did away with the meeting, so it's just the May meeting. I'm a former business owner, all right? And I know how it is to carry charges month after month after month, all right? I disagree with you that you say that 1 or 2 applicants, 1 or 2 licenses, that we would be able to issue only 1 or 2 licenses. I suspect there's a greater amount of licenses out there that we would be able to convert from conditional to annual, from conditional conversion to annuals. I suspect there are a lot more annuals out there that we can provide. And if you've been a business owner and you have to pay $10,000 a month or $5,000 a month, $3,000, whatever you have to pay, carrying that charge month after month, it's easy for us to say, hey, let's just wait another month. But tell that to the business owner. That business owner, that can be the difference between, him actually being able to open up his business, his cannabis business, his or her cannabis business, their cannabis business, or not being able to open up their cannabis business. We're asking a lot. These folks are taking risk, all right? They're putting their money on the line. Some of them are mortgaging their house. They're putting up their life savings, all right? I think that we can work a little harder, all right, to get their licenses to them. I think if you're talking about social equity, that is the greatest gift in social equity that you can do, is get them their licenses as soon as possible.
So, Vice Chair, I don't disagree with you that the challenges that our New Jersey business owners are facing are real. I don't think there's anybody on this stage who would disagree with that. I think everyone here is sympathetic to the the hurdles and the difficulties that New Jersey business owners are facing, especially in the cannabis industry, given everything that members of the public have told us about municipal approvals and the length of time that it's taken. I feel for them. I really do. And I wish that we can snap our fingers to make all of these licenses available immediately. But that's not the reality of what it takes to process and review and confirm the applications that are, we have our own rules to follow, right? The Cannabis Regulatory Commission has regulations and rules about how to review and process applications that are submitted. And if we can't get it done, if that's done sloppily, we end up hurting everyone on the back end, all right? I am very sympathetic to the challenges that business owners are facing, and I don't take it lightly to cancel a May meeting. I really don't. I also do not take lightly all of the time and effort that it takes to put a meeting together so that we can provide those licenses, so that we can provide those awards and people can feel relief, especially those who have been waiting a while. That's not lost on me.
Respectfully, because I respect the hell out of you. I disagree. I think if we are sympathetic, if the commission is sympathetic, and I'm looking at all my commissioners in the eye, Maria Del Cid, Commissioner Del Cid, if we are sympathetic, I think we should say yes to having the May meeting. I think we should move on having the May meeting, move on my motion to have that May meeting on May 18th, because these small business people, these mom and pops, I don't know if that gentleman's still here, the mom and pops out there waving their hand, all right, they can't wait any longer. They're in debt.
1 year.
They're in debt.
7 months.
Let's move on this. Even if we get 10 out, even if we get 5 out, that's 5 more that we can probably save from bankruptcy. That's all I'm saying. Help them succeed. Help me, help the commission, help them succeed.
You're here.
Is there any other discussion on this motion?
I'm a little conflicted. I respect you, and I know we are all trying to do good here. I understand that when this May meeting was taken off the agenda, we don't take that lightly. There is an enormous meeting happening in June with a lot of documents. Just the application reviews alone take an enormous amount of time. I trust the chair's judgment on this one. As much as I understand people are bleeding money, I don't know if it's counterproductive to push this through when we can have a very comprehensive meeting in June. And I also know that what staff produces is a lot of voluminous paperwork and put a lot of effort into these board packets. So I'm not so sure it is the best thing for the applicants and this commission at this time.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash. Any other discussion?
I defer to Commissioner Delgado. He actually first.
And I respect everybody in the commission, but I don't think anybody on this board has ever had to decide whether to pay their mortgage, all right, or the lease on their store.
Well, I don't think we can make that assumption about people's lives. I really don't think we should be making
Well, I
that
don't think
assumption
anybody,
about people's lives.
well, I'm not making an assumption, I'm just
Well, the
saying.
point we're getting is the commission.
Sir, no,
But
no.
that's I'll leave at this point, because what you just said is that 2 years we're not getting.
Sir, excuse me, sir. The time for public comment has ended. You are free to submit written comments to the commission, and up until tomorrow afternoon at 5 p.m. But the time for public comment has ended. All right. So this is a discussion for the board members, and we are going to stick it. Sir, we are sticking to the public comment among the board members right now. Please submit, and if you wish to say anything to the board, please submit it in writing on our website. See, please, sir, this is the last warning, I'm sorry. Commissioner, Vice Chair Delgado, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. If you've never been a small business owner, if you haven't ever signed a lease, pay for equipment, pay sales tax, pay employees, had to have those things hanging over your head, then I have to make that assumption, that no one has ever done that here. I have. I've gone almost bankrupt. I refused to go bankrupt, and I had to take out. It took me 7 years to pay back. After I sold my business on pennies on the dollars. I used to run a print shop in Newark on 106 Halsey Street. In 1989, I was paying $3,600 a month for a 1,200 square store on 106 Halsey Street. All right, in 1989 dollars, and I had to sell it pennies on a dollar because I couldn't, maintain my house or my family and hold on to that business. So all I'm saying is I want to help the small business folks out there that have put their life savings on the line. They're spending, month after month, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, all right? I think we should roll up our sleeves, and go the extra mile and have that May meeting, that's all. And I'll stop. That's all I feel. That's how I feel.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Are there any other comments for discussion on this motion? Hearing none, I'll just wrap it up and say that, the time that it takes to review even just a few applications is enormous. And I want us as a board to be able to do that with the due diligence that all of our applicants deserve so that everybody can get up and running and realize their dreams. With that, hearing no other discussion, Ms. Joannem, on the motion to...
Just a point of information and clarity.
Yes,
Is the
Commissioner
motion, set on the 18th, or is it at a later date in May?
The motion was to have a meeting in May with a suggested date of May 18th.
Suggested date, okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
On, Ms. Joannem, could you please take roll call vote on the motion to have a meeting in May, having a meeting in May with a suggested date of May 18th?
Commissioner Barker?
Aye.
Commissioner Del Cid Coso?
I concur with the comments made by Commissioner Nash and the chairwoman, so my vote is no.
Commissioner Nash?
I'm also going to have to go with the chair's decision, and my vote is no.
Vice Chair Delgado?
Respectfully, yes.
Chairwoman Waynu?
No.
The resolution fails.
Is there any other new business for the commission to take up today? All right, hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair, motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Del Cid Coso, seconded by Commissioner Nash. Is there any discussion on this motion to adjourn?
See you in 6 years.
There's been a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Del Cid Coso and a second by Commissioner Nash. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions?
Excuse me, please. So we're done. Thank you.
Thank you, Director McWhite. The motion passes. Thank you, everyone, for joining today's meeting. Let me remind folks, if you're going to appear in person, please acknowledge the fact that this is an agency that is trying to run and conduct business. I understand that everyone here is excited, that there's a lot of good things happening, and there can be some things that make people unhappy. But please respect the order of business that this agency is here to do. At this time is 6:03, and we are adjourned. Everyone, please have a good evening.
See, we come and speak our mind.